What's the first thing women notice? Your face. That's why you got to take care of. Simple things like getting a haircut, grooming your face, and brushing your teeth is important. But there's one thing guys miss and that women always notice. It's when a guy isn't taking care of his skin. That's why I'm so excited to have Teege Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. Teege Hanley simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. Seriously, I don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: daily face wash, exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with an SPF 20 and a PM moisturizer. But and to make it dead simple for you guys, they provide an instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. But because Teege is sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description and get 40% off your first skincare system and free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll get 20% off for life. By the way, one of their new gift options is a silicone body scrubber, which is a $20 value and a complete game changer. Once you use this, you'll never go back to a regular loofah ever again. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today. It's go time. What's going on, family? Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Miss Kelly J, Pink, Coco, God, Miss Teege, and myself, Lapeef J.I. Welcome. How y'all doing, family? How y'all doing?
Blessed and highly favored.
How's everybody else doing? I think that the only one that spoke.
Blessed and highly favored.
Okay.
I can't complain.
Period.
No complaints, no complaints. It's good to see you guys, man. Happy Wednesday. 2 days away from Friday. I know some people look forward to Friday and some folks don't. I'm looking forward to Friday, man. Friday is always a good day to recalibrate. So it's Sunday, and then Monday, right back at it for most folks. Anyhow, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. What's going on? Christopher Matthews, Jolie, and welcome to all who has not yet entered the chat. It's great to see you. I'm going to go ahead and get this show started, man. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to roll this first clip, man. This is an interesting clip. I'm looking forward to getting your perspectives. We got to hold it down to Viz get here, Hank.
I got you. I just hope there's going to be right on, big brother. I just hope there's going to be room for us to speak. That's all, you know.
Yeah, I think it should be pretty cool, man. I think it should be pretty cool.
We got some heavy hitters up here. We got some heavy hitters up here.
They are vocal. Yeah, vocal. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm vocal. So maybe we might be able to get some time in. Maybe one of them will tag you in, Hank. I'm hoping that's the way it go, but you never know. HR is one phone call away, so if anybody needs to get reported and you wanted to remain anonymous, you know what to do, Hank. Just call that hotline. All right, go to clip. Let me roll it. Here we go.
Your wife have the last say so in the household?
No.
Your face. I say it just depends, because sometimes the wife may be stronger in certain areas. Let's just say the husband is not good at managing a certain thing and the wife is stronger in that certain area. Do you believe that the wife should have the input in that area?
I think input is different from final say so.
I think to be a wife, at least the type of wife that I aspire to be, which is a high value, feminine, high earning woman that is partnered with a high value, high earning masculine man. Ultimately, my input and feeling heard and acknowledged and seen, that's important to me. That's very important to me. However, ultimately the decision is his, because I'm submitted to the mission of the God that's inside of him. And so ultimately, if I'm better at finances, or I'm better at really anything, I'm definitely going to place my input, and a true leader knows when it's time to follow, which is why it's important inside of your partner choice. If you're choosing someone that's more in their ego, that needs to be like, well, what I say goes, rah, 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 that's not really the person that you want. You don't want them to have the final say so. But if you have a true leader that knows who they are, they know where they're going, they know the purpose, and they want what's good for the colony, then they're going to take your input, and the final say so will really be what you said in the first place. Can you be feminine enough to plant that seed in the man so that he feels like it's his idea anyway, and then celebrate him for when he does it? Because ultimately, the woman is the conductor in the household. You just don't see her because her back is turned.
Break that down for me, please.
If you go watch an orchestra, you have all of this music that's playing. That's the man. The man is providing. He's doing this. Sometimes it's brash. Sometimes it's strong. Sometimes it's quiet. It's all of this different things, harmonies that are happening. He's running the household. But the conductor is there saying, this is when it's time to do this. Hey, not right now. You gotta stop that. Hey, you need to come right here. You're literally orchestrating the household.
But who writes the music?
God.
Ooh.
That's the purpose. That's the alignment.
Like that.
That's the source.
Well, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Should your wife have the last word in the house? We got a wife on the panel. I'm gonna start with you, Miss Teege. How does this go? See if you can help us out here.
It depends on what perspective you're coming from, right? So if you're religious, which is the way that I grew up, then the husband will always have the final say so, right? But if you're truly invested in the marriage itself, it just depends on the situation, like what the woman asks about. Well, if I'm more, let's say, financially savvy, if I'm like, for instance, I have my sister's a CPA, right? She handles all things finances. There's no argument between what's going to happen in terms of their finances, because she's the guru in that specific area. So I just think, for me personally, is playing on each other's strengths. Like the young lady said in the video, like a true leader knows when to follow. So for my husband, if it's something that I have more knowledge about, he'll defer to me on certain things and ask my opinion, like, what do you think? Blah, 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 blah. And then vice versa. So I don't think there is a need to, I guess, push and pull between who's going to make the decision, because if you're an adult, I would think both people will have enough sense to say, okay, this person has more knowledge in this situation than me, so we're going to run with that idea. And that's kind of how it's worked for us.
All right, what about you, Miss Coco? Should your wife have the last say so? Should a wife, not your wife, but should a wife?
I'm more traditional, so just like what she said, the husband, I feel the husband should have the last word. In my marriage, my ex-husband, he always had the last word, but I was really good at giving my ideas. He trusted me a lot. You know, I was the one with the degrees, you know, he didn't even finish high school or whatever. So he always would ask, you know, something. But if it came to like making decisions like big purchases and things like that, you know, it was his decision. But like she said, you know, we were like best friends. So, you know, I would talk to him and he'll talk to me. I learned so much from him and he learned so much from me. We just kind of bounced off each other. So that was never an issue. It's just interesting because after my marriage, when I got into another serious relationship afterwards, I was moving the same way. And that guy took it as I was doing too much. I was trying to tell him what to do. And I don't need you to, don't volunteer information unless I ask. And it was just kind of like, Okay, so I was like dumbfounded. I couldn't figure that one out with that guy. It didn't really last that long because like we just couldn't mesh together because he kept looking at it as I was trying to control something. And all I was doing was I just thought that communication is communication. So I don't know if it was the way it came out, but I think it has something to do with the man as well too. But I do believe that the husband should have the last word.
Can I just ask one question for clarification? Anybody can clarify this, but I guess specifically the men, since this question is more so geared for men having the last say so. I guess my question is, what does the last say so mean? So if you give, let's say, your opinion, like I said, if my sister's a CPA and they're discussing something and she has the knowledge set and he goes with that, does that mean she's having the last say so? Or he, like, I guess that's the confusion. If the husband chooses to go with the input that you gave, do that mean she's having the last say so, or is he having the last say so because he decided to go with that idea? Y'all understand what I'm saying? I'm a little confused about what last say so means.
I understand. You want to go, Hank?
Well, I mean, if he makes the final decision, he's, I mean, technically he will have to say so. Even if he reasoned and he accepted your idea, he still's got to ponder over it. He still's got to make the decision whether, you know, the negative outweigh the positive. He still got to go through the whole, you know, the whole cycle of decision making. Even if it's your idea, he's still making a final decision.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and piggyback on that. What Hank said, I totally agree. That's exactly what I was going to say. He's still choosing to accept whatever it is that you're bringing to the decision. And so, and I think by you providing it, you're not necessarily telling him you need to do this. It's saying this is what I know, but I'm going to trust that you're going to make that final decision on what's best. So I think that there has to be trust on both sides. And even in the vetting process, you will hope that you would pick someone. Not everybody does it, but you hope you pick someone that has enough sense to be able to bring some form of substance to the marriage or to the relationship. And you will hope that at times that you guys can help each other. So it's a circle of positive things that are happening when it comes to the decision making. But ultimately, you know, if you trust in that man, you're going to trust his decision. And then if she does see something that he may miss, then she'll bring it up to him. And because he trusts her, he's open to hearing it. He may not hear from any other woman or anybody else, but because he vetted that woman, he chose her, he may say, hey, just so you know, I'm going to consider whatever it is that you're thinking as well. And hopefully he has enough logic to put everything together to make whatever decision needs to happen. And something that's important too, even if somebody don't understand, if you're able to support whatever it is that you're stating or the reason as to why, and granted there's enough time to be able to do so, then you can kind of help whoever that person may be understand your decision making.
Well, let me ask this question. Is it a problem when you say that I think you may have answered it, but when your woman or your wife or whoever volunteer information, is that something that you don't want? Do you prefer to ask your girl what you think and make a decision? Or do you have a problem with a woman suggesting something to do? Whatever that is.
No, I don't.
Like, let's just say, for example, I was just like, let's just say Hank and I are married. And I'm like, Hank, I got an idea. This is what I think we should do. I heard you talking the other day about stuff with finances and something we should do. And then I'll run some stuff down to you. Would you have an issue with me just doing that without asking?
I mean, as long as you don't make the decision and you give me the information, I'm gonna do the research on this investment that you're talking about to make sure it's legit, make sure everything's on the up and up, make sure it is what you say it is. That as a man, that's what I'm gonna do, regardless of what any woman's my wife say to me. I'm gonna still do the research. I'm gonna still look it up. I'm gonna still figure it out and find out what it is. And she's not just giving me some old bogus information because she got some secondhand bullshit from one of her girlfriends. Now let me do the research on this. I mean, I trust, but you verify. That's what you do. You trust, but you verify what she's saying is real, what she's saying is legit, what she's saying is everything is on the up and up, and it's all good. It's worth, you know, uh, investing money into, or investing time or energy or whatever the case may be, and then just operate from that point of view. At the end of the day, I'm the quarterback. My wife's the running back. The running back is never in front of me. It's always behind me, beside me, but she's never in front of me. So she's not going to make the final decision. I'm going to make the final decision, and I'm going to accept whatever consequences that comes with that final decision, whether it's bad or good. I'm going to accept it all, because at the end of the day, it's going to fall on me. People on the outside are going to say, hey, why'd you let this thing fail? Because I made a bad decision. This thing didn't go the investment didn't go the way I want to do because I made a bad decision. I made a bad investment. Maybe I didn't do enough research. Maybe I didn't do enough time spent on it. Maybe I should invest more time into figuring out what it was, but I didn't. I did a quick fix thing, and it didn't work out for me. I got to accept that. I'm going to go to my wife and say, hey, baby, I'm sorry. This happened. It shouldn't have happened. I should have did more research, and I got to accept that. But please believe me. Give me my flowers when I make my success, when I do it right. Give me my props. Give me my credit when I do it right. Don't just shit on me whenever I do something bad. Yeah, I told you what worked. Now, okay, cool. Give me my props when it does work. Don't say nothing and go on about your bit. Oh, okay, no. Give me my goddamn props. I'll leave it there.
All right. Sorry, I didn't hear that question. Coco, you did mention something about degrees. You know, he trusted me because I had my degrees. Like, what is that? How does that come into play as far as when it comes to like decision making? I can understand if you are certified with certain things, but I know a lot of folks with degrees that don't convert into common sense or logic.
No. So it's funny you said that. That's what he used to say. He used to be like, come on, you the one with the degrees. You know what I'm saying? What you got, like what you think. So it's just, I said that because that's what he would always say. However, he wasn't good with computers. He never, like, he was just like, so, I don't know. But he couldn't type up computers. When I met him, he was still carrying cash for everything. I had just gave him a debit card. You know, he didn't know how to use that. Like, I had to teach him how to use that because our account kept getting negative because he just kept swiping like we had money. I'm moving money around. So it was just growing pains with him, even though he was a lot older than me. But it was, he always was like, you take care of the bills. Like, his check came into the account. I handled everything. So that was just something that he would say. Like, he trusted me. Like, I could have like never paid no bills. You know what I'm saying? Or never did anything. Like, he never asked me for a dime and the money went into the account, and he trusted I was taking care of everything, which I was. So that's what I meant by that. But that's what he felt. He felt like, you know, when it comes to stuff like that, like I want my woman to just, you know, let me know what you think. So, you know, that's what it was.
All right. Go ahead, Miss Di. How do you feel about should a wife have the last say so in the house?
I think that I agree with literally everything that she said and how she described it and her point of view. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me was a leader. A lot of men think because they're men, they're leaders because you're supposed to be a leader, but you have to have leadership qualities. And leadership qualities, like she says, knowing when to follow. Just with me, I'm the president of PCO. We hold like sometimes $12,000, $14,000 in there at a time. And sometimes people come up to me who volunteer and they're like, hey, I have this idea. Hey, I have this, I have that. So as a leader, in that sense, I have to go over the budget, make sure it's in our budget, make sure it's appropriate with the school. And once I figure all that out, if they're better in that area and they have more experience, that's when me as the president, I would make a committee, and that head person would be the head of the committee, and they would let me know what they need in order to get that done. So I feel like a lot of men sometimes lack that trait. But like she said, a healthy man who's not in his ego, a man that's confident in his leadership skills, a man that truly care about you and your opinion, I feel like that's what I want. I feel like I want a husband like that. I want a husband who knows my value and my worth. And I do want his opinion to be the last say so. I want to trust him so much that I don't feel like I have to have the last say so because I know more in that area or whatever the case is. I want my husband to be able to recognize my value and the areas that I'm strong in. And then just for me, because I'm a different type of woman, every marriage and relationship is different. So I'm going to always respect my husband as a leader. But I think one thing I've noticed about myself, I do like to take head in certain situations. Like if we're going to a football game and my son, it's time for us to get the shirts ready, get the posters ready. It's time for us to put on the phase mask. You know what I'm saying? Like I would like to like kind of take charge. Like, okay, we're gonna do this. I need everybody come over here. I want these kids to do the posters. Babe, can you move this around for me? Can you help him with his football stuff? Because you know I'm not good with putting the equipment on. Like that was something I would like. And it's not necessarily, I guess, me leading, like Hank said. If he allows me to do that and he says, babe, you got this, then it's like it's still his last decision. And I respect that. I feel like a man's supposed to be that. And a man that's that is a very valuable man. But like I said, leader is a very, very, that was the key word because like she said, leaders also have to know how to follow.
Mhm.
When you come into a company and it's time to work your way up, it's better to start off at that entry level position, go through every position so you know what it feels like to be in that position. You can be a good leader. You get what I'm saying? So a
Mhm.
lot of men, I think they don't know what it's like to be in a woman's position and how the world make us feel about having to, well, not having to submit, but wanting to submit and wanting to follow a man. They make it seem like it's a weak thing, but I think it takes a real strong woman to be like, okay, I trust this man with everything. I trust that he gonna value my opinion, value what I have to say, and I trust that he's going to lead me in the right direction. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I was hearing a lot about you in there. I'm about making sure that that man values you. How do you determine how valuable a person is to you, like particularly a man?
Um, I feel like if he's able to, what I can't like, I haven't. I feel like I'm still working on getting that, But my ideal man will be somebody who can lead, like a leader, someone who can understand who I am, how I operate, someone who knows how to communicate, someone who knows how to adjust to different learning behaviors, because we're all, as people, we're all different people. So you have to know how to talk to me. When you talk to our kids, you got to know how to adjust, a man who know how to adapt and to adjust. Um, a man that's reliable, a man that's loyal, a man that's consistent, a man that's a man of his word. That's the biggest thing to me. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. If you make a mistake, that's cool. Just do what you say you're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? And then take accountability for whatever, like Hank said, whatever comes with it, just take accountability. I want a man of God, someone who has some type of moral standards, a man that's not afraid to tell me how he feel and knows how to articulate himself in a way that I would receive it. I feel like some men just be so thirsty to get their point across, but they're not thinking about how effective they are with their delivery. It's like if you want to change, you have to be effective. So I want someone who knows how to effectively communicate. Like those are the qualities I look for. And I feel like that a leader should have.
So you realize what you said at first contradicts everything you just said right now, right? Because you said a
Um,
man thinks he's a leader just because he's a man. Well, he is a leader just because he's a man. Because if you're a believer, like you said you was, a man is ordained to be a leader. We have no choice. We are going to be responsible for whatever happens in the relationship. They're not going to look at you as why the marriage failed. They're not going to look at you on why the relationship failed. They're not going to look at you on why your kids are out here acting a fool or doing these crazy things. They're not going to look at you, not in totality, on why is your wife out here dressing like this, acting like this, carrying on like this, talking like this. They're going to look at me, man, How did you allow your wife to do this? Why are you allowing your wife to talk like this? Why is she carrying herself like this? Why is she behaving like this, Tim? That's what they're gonna do to me. They're gonna come to me with that nonsense. And it should be on you. It be you doing these things. You as your own individual. But me as that man of the relationship, I'm in charge of the situation. So I got to accept the accountability. Baby, I need for you to tone your voice down. Why are you talking to this man like it? Why are you getting in an argument with this man? Why are our kids doing this? I got to come to you now. You know, what they always say is shit rolls downhill. Me as a leader, as a supervisor of the household, of this company, the CEO, I got to come talk to you as a supervisor. Di, why are you doing this? Why are you acting like this? Why are you moving like this? Why are you talking? Why are you dressing like this? So now I got to dress you because it's my responsibility as a leader of this home, a leader of this family. You have my last name. I don't have your last name. So as a leader, I got to make sure everything is everything. And if it doesn't, then it falls on my watch.
And no, I wasn't saying, I understand that's what men are supposed to be, but a lot of men aren't that. Not a lot of men, but some men aren't that. Some men are not leaders. Some men have not educated themselves to be able to lead a household. Some men have not done the work to understand how to communicate. Some men just wasn't taught how to be a man. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing to them. I feel like they should learn and educate themselves and become that. I feel like all men should be leaders. I do feel like they should be leaders, but the reality is they're not.
So your concern shouldn't be every man.
No, not every
That
man. I
shouldn't
was
be
just
your
saying,
concern.
no,
Your
not
concern
every
needs to be
man, just the
your
man
man.
I want. Yes.
Your concern needs to be your husband. If
Mhm.
JR's not a leader, that's on JR. If I'm
Mhm.
not a leader, that's on me. As long as Di's husband is a leader, I can't concern with myself with, well, JR, you ain't a leader for me. So what? Is JR your husband? Now, if JR's your husband, that's a problem. But if he's not, just somebody you know, that ain't got nothing to do with you. Another woman's got to worry about JR. Another woman's got to worry about Hank. Just make sure your man's a leader. Make sure you find the leader qualities in him and what he's looking for. Make sure he's a man of his word. He's not just talking it, he's going it through it with his action. If his action doesn't speak louder than his words, that means nothing. Then you don't need to get with that dude. Then you wasting your time and energy, investing time and energy and money into this dude. It's not worth it. Move on. Unless you're not looking for a man to lead you and you looking to lead a man, then you found the right one then.
All right. Going to get you involved, Kelly. I'm going to put this on the table. I got a message that says all women say they want that. But the real question is, what will they do if the man is making a poor decision? Will they still follow? Example, you have a good man and he has proven to be a good man, but he is about taking a risky business decision and risk all of y'all money. Will you still follow? I think that's when your real trust and faith in God comes in.
If I have it, like he said, if it's my husband, based on what I said, what I want a husband to be, what I just flatly laid out, we're gonna make that decision. I want my husband to be better than what I am. And I consider myself I go out there and get it, educated, work hard, but I want my husband to be more than what I am. So if it's my husband, he's those qualities, a man of God, educating himself, effectively communicate, da 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 da. Hey, he's showing, and if he comes to me and asks me, like he like, hey babe, we finna do this, or he telling me, and he like, what you think? And I'm like, it's iffy, but if you confident in this, you've been praying on this, you worked on this, I got your back. What else can I say? Like he's proven himself to take care of the household. He's proven himself as a leader. He's doing what he's supposed to do. We're not talking, like Hank said, we're not talking about the men who can't lead. Because if we talking about them, then we got all types of different stories for that. And that's why a lot of women have an issue with submitting. That's why I'm not gonna say I have an issue with it, but I'm very like sometimes I feel like I'm in my masculine energy a lot because I have to protect myself. I have to be careful who I'm following because since I haven't had the right examples, I'm out here learning from experience. So it's like you have to show me you can lead, and then I'll step into my feminine energy based on my situation and how my life experiences work.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Miss
I'm gonna
Kelly.
tell him. Oh, go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, Coco, I just wanted to say, you look so cute. Every time you come on here, it's not until you start talking that I realize, oh wait, that's Coco. Like, because you be switching up your look, but I like them glasses and the eyebrows and how it come together. It's cute. I like it
Thank
too.
you.
Yes.
So, speaking from a single woman's perspective, um, I would imagine that when I enter a marriage, that my husband and I are making decisions together. And I know that those decisions are going to be circumstantial because I can remember when I was younger, I would ask my mother a question: can I do this? Can I do that? And she would say, ask your father. I would ask my father a question. He would say, ask your mother. So I think some situations are better made with the wife versus the husband and vice versa. So I think when you're working and you're moving as a unit, it's both people. So I think both people have the final say so, but I also think both people are discussing these issues with each other to make that best decision. So I think it's a joint decision. And yes, I mean, typically your man is going to be more dominant because men are just more dominant anyway. But like I said, as far as the circumstances are involved, I think it just depends on what the issue is. I think we're talking about bigger decisions here, not small decisions. But that's my opinion.
I think a lot of times in them situations that you mentioned, as far as you having to go to both people, I think that they just might not want to make the decision ahead of time to even really give it thought. Sometimes parents are pretty busy and they may hear you, but they ain't really trying to deal with it right now. And so nobody is really vested in really making that decision. I've had instances like that. It doesn't mean that one is more qualified than the other, but sometimes as parents, you have to understand that both of y'all are busy, so somebody has to make that decision. And when I found myself coming into those situations, I just have to go ahead and make a decision because a decision still has to be made, especially if your child is seeking a decision that's warranted for them. You know, they may want to do something after practice. They may have a birthday party that they may want to attend. They may have something that needs to happen within a certain amount of time. And sometimes when both parents put it off, the child comes back and it may sound like an asshole, but I told both of y'all. I tried to tell y'all, but somebody couldn't really make the decision. So I still think somebody needs to step up. Somebody always got to be the bigger person and take the lead on that. And I'd rather that be me.
Yeah, I agree, Jared. Because as a man, look, we got to wear the black hat. So for those who don't know, when I say the black hat, it means reference like the cowboy movies. The good guys always wore the white hat. Bad guys always wore the black hat. So men have to wear the black hat sometimes. And sometimes, you know, it's hard to tell your kids no. And more likely, the mothers are not going to tell the kids no. They don't want to be the one that look like the mean parent or the nasty parent or the parent that doesn't like to let the kids do any fun. The fathers most of the time are willing to say no and deal with the consequences. But that's part of that decision making you have to do. But you know, at the end of the day, as the kids grow older, they are kind of look back and see, okay, and think about certain situations. I kind of understand why my dad said no, and I kind of see why he was kind of strict on me, or he allowed me to do certain things, but he wouldn't let my brother do certain things. I wouldn't let my sister would do certain things, and wouldn't let my brother do that. So as men, we have to be willing to say no. We have to. I mean, in that situation, example gave, shame on your father for not saying or giving a direct answer. He should have, as the father, as the man, he should have gave the answer and shouldn't have sent it back to your mother. Unless it's a question that he cannot answer or that he could not deal with. As a man, he should have said no.
I have
Or at least gave an answer, whether it's yes or no.
I have a question. And honestly, it is just a question. I'm curious as to what the answer would be from so if the Hank said that, men make the decision, the final say so, because whatever happens, they're going to be the ones that look at, be blamed or whatever and accept the consequences. So, my question is, if you make a unilateral decision, right? And it impacts the family. Like when people say, "Oh, well, I got to deal with the consequences." Well, no, it's not that you're dealing with the consequences yourself. Your family is also going to have to deal with the consequences of your decisions as well, right? So, I guess my question is, if you make a unilateral decision after like as a wife is giving you that input and you just don't want to listen for whatever reason, and the consequences are what they are, do you then expect the wife to support you in fixing the mistake that you made, or do you make the unilateral action to fix what you decided to do?
Um,
I go
Do
ahead,
y'all
John. Go
understand
ahead.
the question? Does that make sense?
yeah, I understand it, but I understand in life that there's consequences regardless of what decision you're making. You can still make a decision and it'd be a good decision at that time, but then it backfire and you couldn't really foresee what was going to happen. So I'm comfortable understanding that life is about consequences, some good and bad. You may see it now or later. Uh, I like data. So if I'm thinking something, sometimes I may come to her and I may ask her like, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. I'm just picking your brain a little bit. I'm ultimately going to make a decision, but I still want to factor in as much perspective as I can if I'm not familiar with it. But I'm not afraid to make the decision. So if she trusts you, like she's going to trust that whatever decision that you made, that it was a good decision at the time based on what you've seen. Now, if something backfires or there's a consequence, then she's going to trust as well that you're gonna make a way to get it out. Now, does everybody have this? I don't think everybody is able to figure things out. A lot of people don't know how to problem solve, but I can only speak for me in particular. I love problem solving, and I don't mind dealing with a consequence. I've been dealing with it since all throughout life. Even as a child, you had consequences, whether you've seen it or not. But later on, you understand that life is about up and down. So uh, I'm not afraid of the moment. I love to embrace everything when it comes to manhood and what a man has to do. Yeah, so I don't have a problem with it. And that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm going from like the example that you gave about taking all of the money and risking it all, right? I understand that men like to take risks, and I think the certain risks are good, especially when you're single. You can take the risk because the impact is only going to affect you. But the flip side to that is that once you're married, you have to minimize some of the risk. Not to say not to take any risk, but it to say that I'm going to take all of the money. I have a wife and I have children, and I'm gonna just invest it in this business and hope that everything works out. I don't think that that's a wise decision when you have a family. Now, not to say you can't take risks. Why do you have to take all of the money? Maybe you set aside, let me just, we got 250,000 set aside. And I know I got, X, Y, and Z, got kids, got this and that. Let me just, leave maybe 60, and then I'll take the rest and we'll risk that. Like those are the kind of things that I would expect a leader to think about, like the worst case scenarios. And I think sometimes when we're talking about this, I've heard examples saying, even if your, husband, does X, Y, and Z, you need to follow him, period. That wouldn't be wise when you have a family. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got you. That's why vetting is so important because you have to examine the person that you're going to be with their decision making. I mean, I would think that if somebody has a gambling problem and they just will risk it all, that you will see those things before you get married and you can understand the type of person you're dealing with. That's why you got to ask the right questions and as far as how they think and just pay attention. I mean, I don't know too many people that all of a sudden he just became a risk taker. This is something that I believe that most people probably see some sign of it. Now, whether you was ignoring it, whether you didn't pay attention to it, then that kind of falls on you. But once you marry, it just is. I'm not saying you have to deal with it, but that's like a tough situation to be in. So if you don't want to be in a situation like that, then you need to do some vetting. You need to ask those uncomfortable questions prior to you getting married so that you don't find yourself in those type of situations. I mean, some things are just stupid. So if the person you with just making some stupid ass decisions, that's really on you. That's something that, for the most part, I will hope that you would have seen. And if it keeps happening, then I guess it's another decision that you got to make. But if you do find yourself in that predicament, then have a conversation and at least offer some support as to why you may think, and hopefully y'all can come to some type of resolution to making sure y'all don't risk it all and lose it. But I've heard stories of people, they took all the money and it's just gone. Took all the money and it's just like you really can't really say nothing but ask the question, like, how was he when y'all was dating? Because right now y'all married and he's emptying out the bank accounts every single time and putting y'all in these situations. So like, what was he like? You didn't see any of this, and then I guess it just kind of falls on the person at that point.
And that's
I
why
feel
I
like
don't
all
get it because it's
marriages.
like, why would it fall just back on her? It's like y'all say a wife is supposed to mix. She's supposed to trust her husband. Da, 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 da. So she picked this man. She trusted him, and it's like y'all said, he said it. He said the man got to take the fall. The man gonna take the consequences. They got to take the fall for that. She shouldn't take the fall for doing what she was supposed to do as a wife and follow.
Well, nobody's telling anybody to vet dumb. I mean, come on now. If if you want to,
If all men are leaders, every single one of them,
well,
what you know what I'm saying? You have women
I
that end up
believe
in those
I
situations.
believe that all men have leadership capability. Now, whether they
Yes.
all leading or not, that's another. But I think that all men are capable of leading.
Yes, I agree.
Now, whether they took advantage of that opportunity, it's kind of like on them. But maybe as a woman, you should probably have some of the men that you trust to vet the man. Maybe they can have some conversations with them just to kind of foresee the things that you may be missing. That's why it's important. I'm gonna tell my daughter not to marry them. I'm gonna make sure that I vet. I'm gonna make sure she don't find herself in certain situations, and hopefully we have a relationship where she can kind of let me know what's going on outside of my questions that I may have for him. And then we kind of go from there. But you can't see everything. But I do think people had to get better with the questions that they asking prior to them getting married. And even if you go to therapy, I believe, I've never gone to counseling whatsoever on the front end, but I believe that those type of questions come up. It's going to be a time where y'all have to make some financial decisions that's going to affect both of you guys. So what happens, if you find yourself in that. So they may throw things out there, different scenarios, and then maybe even before getting married, you can really see how that person responds. Now, if they just throw you for a loop and they do the complete opposite of what they said in that discussion, I don't necessarily think it falls on you. It's just that this person was playing games from the get-go and you just found yourself in an unfortunate situation.
So in the situation what Mistake is talking about, sound like a woman just gonna be there when everything's always good, but when it's bad, it's time to get the hell out. And that's a lot of the Western marriages now. The situation when everything's bad, they don't want to be around. They don't want to be responsible. They don't want no part of it. They just want to get out with a clean slate. No, that's not what it is. If you're a believer and a follower of the Most High, is for sicker for worse, richer for poor. So now you want, just because I made one bad decision, you ready to get out. So what if I did you like that? On every time you make a bad decision, I say, this is the marriage over. Oh, I just need to start putting blame all on you. Yeah, you didn't cook my shit right. You burnt the food. Yeah, I think it's time for us to file some papers. No, we can't do that. We need to stick it out. look, we understand how hard marriage is. It's not easy. Nothing about marriage is easy. You're making all type of sacrifice. Both parties are making sacrifices. But part of that sacrifice is reason why you did what you did to come together. So it means we need to come together on everything. So if I take a loss in the stock market, now of course I'm not the type that's gonna go with the bull approach and just put everything on in. No, I'm gonna put in what I can afford to lose. If I can't afford to lose it, I'm not gonna invest that. If I can, I'm going to put it there. There won't be a problem with it because we already had a discussion. We're looking to do this. I'm looking to invest in this type of property. I'm looking to invest in that type of property or this stock or that stock. I'm looking to open this business. We're going to have a discussion. Any purchase, me and my wife, we talk about it. And at the end of the day, I got to make that final decision whether I'm going to go with it, I'm going to put it on hold, or hell no, this ain't a good idea at all. As a man, that's what we have.
You realize what you said, which was the key point, is that y'all are having discussions about it. She's giving input. You're going to weigh everything, and then you're not going to put in more. You're not going to risk it all. You're going to, have a balance. That's all I'm saying is that's what a leader would do. So I agree with you. What I was talking about was the example that JR gave, is that as a woman, you're expected to just still follow blindly, even if you're giving input. From what I'm hearing, if you're giving input and I'm saying this is too risky, you're putting the family at risk, these are the things, and I'm laying it out for you, and you still say, I'm the head, you need to follow my decision, I'm going to go ahead and risk it all, I'm taking all of the money and I'm going to put it in this investment, and I just need you to trust me. That's the part that I'm talking about, is we have discernment, right? And as a wife, part of my responsibility is to say, okay, I support you, but there has to be a better way to do this so that we're not putting the family at risk, because that is putting the family at risk. So my point was, if you make the unilateral decision and the consequences of that impacts all of us, then should it not just be your responsibility to fix whatever you made up without the wife being responsible for having to do that? Because now that all of the money is gone, which means I contribute to some of that as well, because most women are working as well and contributing. You took all of the money, and now I'm stuck with trying to figure out, how am I going to make up the difference with all of the money that's gone? And that's the part that I'm getting at, is that if you as a man and a leader make the unilateral decision, then the consequences, you shouldn't necessarily look to the woman to help you fix it when you didn't consider what she was saying to begin with.
No, you should be a part of it, because let me tell you this, what you also are going to be a part of is the benefits from it if it does pan out, right? Or unless you're not willing to take that credit and not get that extra 50, that 500,000 that I made on the investment. Don't say you want a part of it, you don't get none of it. You don't get to participate in none of it. If you don't want the failures, then you can't have the success. You got to accept the goods with the bad. If that means I succeed and when we hit on this investment, then we all eat. But guess what? If I fail, nobody eats. And we have to accept that. Yeah, we're going to get it back. Your man going to find. Please believe you, ladies, you ain't nothing you could say to a man that's been through some downs and failed, that took some losses. It ain't a word or statement in the world that you're going to say make him feel worse than he already is. There's nothing. You can talk about it. Say, I told you what's going to happen. That don't mean shit. He feels bad because he hurt. He failed his family. He let down his wife. He let down his kids. He let down his community. He let down his neighborhood. That feeling right there, it's like a boat on a man's shoulders. You're not going to make her feel bad. So just what we need for you to do, ladies, is to find a way to be something like a back brace, to be some type of support. Encourage me. It's going to be all right, baby. We're going to get there. You got us there before. I believe in you, and I know you're going to get us back where we need to be at. But when you come here and sound like, You ready to turn him down just because he made a mistake, or just because he made a bad investment, or just because he fell off the wagon, and you ready to shit on him and just pile on like the rest of the world, or whatever happened that fell it was. You ready to pile on that man and not give him no grace? Damn, that ain't shit. Now he's got to question himself. I picked the wrong one. I made a bad investment in this woman. This woman is not a woman who's here for me thick and thin. She's here when the party's going, when the lights are bright, when everything's hopping and everything's lit and everything's good. But when them clouds are coming over us, when the storms are coming, now she's running, turning tail. She's nowhere to be found. She took her umbrella and ran off with my kid by herself. What about the covering for me? You're not worried about your man? You're not worried about your husband? Oh, that's some bullshit. I need for you here on the good and the bad. Don't just hang out with me when the party's hopping. But when that party's dead, ain't nobody here. You need to be right there beside me.
So I just want to say this. I agree with him when he say, like, I feel like when you're in a relationship, like, yeah, you can make that decision, like, okay, I'm deciding to leave because you're not showing yourself to be a good husband. But when you're in a marriage, I do feel like when the other partner is wrong, like, two wrongs don't make a right. So the other person should be the bigger person to try to help that person. But on the flip side, when men make mistakes, like you said, there's consequences that come to it. If I gave my input and this could have been avoided, and we could have invested in a different decision that didn't impact our family, then you're going to hear my mouth. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm your wife. I'm going to let you know, yes, I understand how down you feel. I understand how hurt you feel. But now all of us are impacted by this. The kids are upset because they ain't got no food on the table. We can't pay the rent. I'm going to have to be homeless too. I understand that you're upset, but understand that you're going to get reactions from us because not only it's like not only did you make that decision, but I gave you input. I gave you not just saying, oh, I feel like this, because a lot of women do that. And I understand why men don't sometimes take their opinion into consideration. But if she's bringing you facts, she's laying out numbers, and you still decide as a man and you're in your ego, no, I'm just going to go ahead and make this decision. No, that affected all of us, honey. And as an emotional creature, you're going to hear my mouth. The kids, they're going to be not as stable as they were. That everybody emotional stability, once everything is lost and we have to put the energy into getting it back, everything is going to be thrown off balance. And I feel like sometimes when women do start to hold the man accountable, they're like, you bashing me. And it's like, no, I'm not bashing you. I love you. We going to fix this. I know you got this. But at the same time, your ego got in the way, baby. I brought these facts. I brought these numbers, and what I said was true. So now you have to find a way to take my opinion into consideration a little bit more and not just be like, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man, especially if I brought the facts and laid it out on the table. I have a right to be mad. I have a right to be upset. If the president of the company make a decision and can't pay his workers, you think he ain't gonna hear from it? Them workers got to pay. They got to feed their families. That's just the role of being a responsible man. So that's the only part I would disagree with. But I do agree with him when he said you can't just be like, oh well, you gonna have to fix it. Nah, he made a mistake. Y'all married. Y'all have to find a way to come together to make it work. Especially if you especially if you are by him not listening and you prove to him like this, by you listening it would work. This time he might be a little bit more receptive, and hopefully in the future he don't make that decision again. You know what I'm saying? To just completely disregard you instead of looking at what you said, doing his research, and then coming to a decision.
Here's my
Are you willing to take on that blame if we miss out on this $2 million investment? That I listened to you. I listened to all your research. I accepted everything, and I said, well, yeah, my lady died. Said, so I'm gonna sit this one out. And we come to find out we miss on that opportunity to invest in Netflix. We miss on that opportunity to invest in Tesla. And now look what the stock is. We miss out on a $2 million opportunity. Can I look at you say, listen, your silly ass. Now we $2 million less than we could have been. Are you willing to accept that?
I think a woman
depending
is
on
more,
how you deliver it, because how you delivered it to me,
willing.
How you delivered it to me, that was bashing and putting me down. You talk about some my silly ass. I didn't say I would bring it to you like that. I would have brought it to you like, hey, babe, I understand you upset, da, 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 but look, your decision impacted the family like this. We hurt, we this, we that. I'm communicating in a healthy way. I'm not putting you down. If you can come to me and be like, babe, listen, we missed out. Next time, let me handle this. I got this, babe. I listen to you. Da, 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 da. I'm like, all right, you right. I'm gonna shut my mouth. You right. I ain't gonna say next time you got it. But it's
All right.
like it's your delivery. You know what I'm saying? But once you tell me that, I'm gonna take accountability. And if you be like, okay, well, for this next investment, I need you to work a couple more extra shit, just this
Mhm.
week, do some overtime. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I owe you that because we missed out. You know what I'm saying?
As
Whatever
a
I have to do to get
All right,
us
hold on,
to
Miss Baker.
what you
Hold
need
on
for
one
the
second.
next investment, I'm going to make sure I put in the
Gotcha.
work and take my responsibility. Because
Yeah,
you
we got you.
listen.
Gotcha. Let's make sure we get Coco and Kelly involved in the conversation. Make sure we spreading the mic, y'all. Go ahead, Coco and Kelly.
I'm still on mistaken. I think Hank was talking about after the fact, like after a decision was made and it failed or not. But Mistaken's talking about before the decision is made. And I'm a realist, so I'm a submissive person until I feel like my livelihood is at stake. And I'm gonna be that person like, hold on, wait a minute. I'm gonna say something. Usually if it's something that he's already decided to do, and it's like, okay, but I'm gonna be like, hold on. Our relationships have arguments, and that's gonna go on record that we argued about it. Saying we're not gonna argue afterwards. If it don't work out, we're not gonna argue afterwards. It's gonna be on record that we argued about it. And I told you how I felt. But I am not a I told you so type of person. I already know what we talked about and argued about beforehand. So if it didn't fall through, you the man, fix it. You already know we argued about it. It's on record. We argued about it. And that's all I care about. So I'm going to say something if I feel like that it's compromising my livelihood or it's like something that's really unethical. Yeah, I can't blindly just follow that without at least saying something. And I'm not going to go too long about it. I'll argue about it. And if he's still strong on, I said what I said, okay. But after you say what you say, and something's wrong, something go wrong, like I'm not gonna say anything. Like I'm assuming you accept the responsibility, like Hank said, you accept the responsibility, and that's it. I'm not a I told you so type of person because I already know we argued about this beforehand, and you already knew how I felt. So that's how I'm gonna stick with that.
All right, go ahead, Miss Kelly.
So, as an entrepreneur, I'm used to wins and losses. I don't complain about losses. So, going into a marriage with someone, I would imagine that if my husband made the final decision and the decision failed, we just have to come up with a solution. Going back to him arguing about what didn't work and why it didn't work is not going to resolve anything. So the best thing to do is move forward with a solution so we can figure it out. Wasting your energy on arguing is not going to make it work any better. It's just going to make it worse. So that's my take on it.
And I want to say I wouldn't be arguing with him, but I feel like I've noticed that when someone cares about you, specifically like a man, like they said, they want to make their family happy, their livelihood, their well-being, they want to make them comfortable. So I am going to let him know how he affected us. I am going to get on him and tell him how this decision and your choice to completely disregard what I told you, how it affected us. So next time he makes a decision like that, he takes a little bit more initiative to make sure it's more concrete. You know what I'm saying? To make sure he gonna be like, shit. He like he said, he already down that he failed his family. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if I know you gonna feel like that. So this is why I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to be a man. I just want to help you avoid that feeling. I want you to be successful. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't listen to me and it hurt my feelings and like I understand like small decisions, but I was specifically speaking about them taking all the money and then we lose like that type of impact. I'm gonna let him know so he understands, and the kids is gonna let him know, and I think that will push him further to make sure it don't happen again. I've noticed when I was in previous relationships and I was nonchalant about something the guy was doing, he didn't really take me too seriously. And I'm not saying nagging, but showing him that I cared about this. This is something I care about. This is what I stand on. And sometimes if I don't show him the emotion, he might not think it's as serious as what I'm saying. I'm just nagging. I'm just complaining about something. But what's important to one person is not important to another. So in order for you to understand the importance of this to me, you have to see how I feel, because I feel like that influences a man to, make sure that mistake don't happen again. I feel like, especially with the people with the gambling addictions and stuff like that, sometimes those wives that's usually in that position, you don't see them putting their foot down. They complain for a couple of seconds and then that's it. They're not making sure any solutions. But if I knew that I had a solution to make sure you avoided this, and he agreed and the outcome came that I was right, that's an education moment for him. I'm not nagging, I'm not yelling at you, but hey, look, this is something you could have did better. You need to pay attention to this, because now we finna be homeless. How we gonna pay rent next month? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big deal. And I don't, I'm like you said, I wouldn't consider it arguing. It's just like, hey, this is how I feel, and I need you to, make sure this don't happen again, because this is impacting us down here. Because while you up there and I'm taking care of the house, now I have an extra load too. You know what I'm saying? Now the kids are upset. They're uncomfortable. They're whining. They're crying. We're growing without. We're trying to figure out how to happen. Mom's not in the house. So I'm dealing with an impact too. And I'm going to let him know, hey, this decision impacted me. And now when he realized, damn, it's not just the finances that I fucked up. I fucked up their emotional stability. He gonna take, next time that decision come up, he gonna do that extra work. You know what I'm saying? He gonna be like, okay, let me make sure this straight, because I understand it's just not impacting me and how I look as a man, but this is affecting the entire, you know what I'm saying, household.
Yeah, I get what you're
Guy, I feel
saying,
like
but you got to keep in mind that this is someone that you're choosing to be your husband. So when you choose that man, you've already figured out what you like about this person. So if he's making those decisions that you don't like before you even get married to him, he's probably not the one to be in a husband position. That's all I'm saying. And I know you didn't say argue, but any type of nagging or bringing it back to him, like, you did this, and wrong, this, and that wrong, right? And I told you it should have went this way. It's like, that's a waste of your energy when you could just come forward with a solution. And these men are making decisions to put the family at harm. They're making decisions because they want the family to progress. So no one's going into it. When you're taking a risk, you're not thinking that it's going to go bad. You're thinking this is it. This is the right decision. So as a wife, you kind of already got to have a little cushion, a little backup just in case, because yes, you're allowing someone to make those decisions. So if he does fail, you can kind of pick him up. That's it, because you're working as a team.
But there's
I
a
get it, but
difference.
they
You
said the
said
man that they was
team.
talking
Hold on,
about was
guys.
a man that
You
usually
said
make
as
really
Kelly,
good
Wait, hold on.
decisions. Oh,
Kelly,
I
you
was saying the
said
same.
as a team, right? So
Yes.
part of being that team is that we're both making a decision. So in a situation like that, if we're making a decision and I am in agreement, like, okay, I'm willing to take this risk. These are the things that we put in place to mitigate some of that risk. If it doesn't work out, worst case scenario, we got this backup 50 G's, to land on for a little bit until we, can figure something out. I'm on board with that. So if it doesn't work, I'm okay as a wife doing my part to get us back on point because I was a part of the process. What I'm saying is when you as a husband making the unilateral decision and not allowing me to be a part of the process, but then want me to break my back to help get us back on because you messed up. So what I'm saying is if you make the unilateral decision, then you have to deal with the unilateral consequence to fix that decision that you made. But I'm all for what you were saying. If we're working as a team and we both saying we're taking this risk, then of course that's what a risk is. You may win, you may lose. But if we lose because we were on the same page about it, then all hands on deck.
We got to
That's all
figure
I'm
it
trying to
out.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
And
got to
then
figure it out.
and then and then what he said, just from like, for the man that was risking it all, he said that man had a history of leading well. He said this was a man who proved himself to be a good man and a good leader. So I'm pretty sure that was probably the decision for going all in with him. But I feel like sometimes people, not people, sometimes I think just in general, yes, people think that because once that man get married, it's like he's done growing. No, that was an ego situation. That was something that could have completely been avoided. Completely getting bit. And if you don't fix that ego because you just decided that I wanted to do this and I just want to be a man, I'm just gonna disregard the facts and the data, that's something that could hurt us in the future. So I'm gonna look at you like, hold on, where did this come from? Especially if you proving yourself to be a good man in the future. It's like, hold on, why was this such, like, I don't think, what's going on in your life, what's going on, because this is something. And like you said, I'm not going to nag him about it like I told you so, but I am going to be kind of concerned for a man who's usually consistent, very precise, get his data and facts down straight, and he decides that, oh, I'm going to make this decision and it impacted our family that much. I don't know, I'm gonna sit him down like, babe, you cool? Is you cool? Did you remember the mission? Because for the past 5, 10 years, you've been making sure we stable. We got a house over our head. You've been making sure we fed. I understand. That's why I say I'm not gonna nag him. I'm not gonna down him, but I am going to address the situation. Like, babe, is you cool? Am I did I not come in the bedroom enough this week or this month? Or what is it something
Yeah.
that I did? Is it something
What
that's going on
die?
at work? Is this a midlife crisis? I need to know. It's not so more so to be like, oh, I'm mad. And, it's not that energy, but it's more so like, I'm concerned. What's going on? Like, we need to talk about this because we need to make sure that these type of decisions don't happen in the future because this was a big one.
I
What
Well,
get
die?
it. I
Can I
get
say something to you, die? So you sound like, okay, so what you're explaining, it sounds like that you're the type of woman that when stuff go wrong in a relationship, you freaking out. You want answers. You want to start talking about it. You want to see how you're emotional about it. You want to go over and over and again. But
No.
when you have decided to support your man on a decision that he's making, this is when you've talked about it. What's the point of arguing afterwards? If y'all talked about it, y'all both on the same page, and he made his decision after y'all talked. If it didn't go right afterwards, why are you concerned? Why all of a sudden is it, what happened,
Because
babe?
when I first,
What's concern?
because
But
when
wait,
I
hold on,
first,
hold on. Let me finish
oh,
this
sorry,
one part.
sorry, sorry.
And then when it comes to, because men gonna make decisions without us, and that's fine. That's what I was talking about when there's a decision that he's about to make without me, but he just ran it by me, just so you know I'm about to do this. If it sounds crazy, even though I know he gonna do it, I'm gonna still say something. But after it happens, that I told you so, it's no point. You're just driving a wedge between you and your guy to argue about what didn't go right. So it sounds like you've lost confidence now. So now you want him to reassure you again because like even like what you just said now. Oh, he's been doing good all this time, and all of a sudden, boom, he dropped the ball. That shouldn't even be an argument. Like, why would you lose confidence that fast if he has a history of doing that and he made a decision that didn't work out? You got to support that and move on. I'm all supporting on beforehand. If a woman, that's just how we are. We go, okay, just so you know, this how I feel, dot, 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 dot. But afterwards, once y'all done moved on and you done accepted it, you ain't on his team no more if you decide to be mad and you want to keep nagging and talking about it over and over again afterwards. And you need reassurance. And what if this happens again? You can't do that.
Well, that's not so. When I said I'm going to go with him, I'm going to give him these facts, but I'm not arguing about it. There's no emotions attached to that first decision because I trust my man. He like, I understand what you're saying, but based on what I know, we gonna go with it. And I'm like, okay, because in the past he's done that. But me as a woman and an emotional being, you're going to, if I didn't give you those emotions and we didn't have that argument, like how you said what you did with your husband, y'all argued about it. Y'all was you let him have the emotions. That's different. I never gave him that. I gave him complete logic at first. These are the consequences of you not considering my actions, my emotions. I'm going to be emotional. That's like, come on now, you're losing $250,000. You're losing your house. You're losing. I'm not talking about you have the cushion and all that stuff. They literally said they lost everything. It's normal for me to be emotional. And me coming to you emotional, I'm not coming to you to down you and tell you I told you so. I want to figure out what's going on. Don't get me wrong, because I'm a woman and I am emotional, I might be like, dang, we could avoid this, da 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 da. But overall, the solution, what's going on? Why did you make this like, why wasn't I considered this time? I really thought you had it, so I didn't push the issue when I gave you the okay, because I'm submitting to you. You've shown yourself to be proved. So now I am going to be concerned as a wife, because I'm like, I feel like if, like, men are not, like he said, men drop the ball sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm there to be his we got this. Like, yeah, we got this, but at the same time I still gotta be my, my womanly self. I'm hurt. This is how it affected me. This is how I feel. So in the future, can we just do it a little bit different? If he say no, I need to fix this right now, that's cool. But I still wanna know, why did you make, I need to be that partner for my man. I wanna know what's going through your head. Why did you make these decisions? How can we make sure it don't happen again? If I can't contribute to that,
Jesus
what
Christ.
business what business people can we get involved? I'll make some extra money just to make sure now you have the right business partner, to make sure you have the right resources. I do want to, like he said, I don't want to leave it just up to him to fix it. I want to be involved too, but just being, just like, realistic. If I see myself, any woman will be emotional if she don't know how she gonna feed her kids, or how they gonna pay rent, or that's just a natural reaction for a woman. And I feel like a real man will know
Yeah.
how to deal with that, as long as she's not
That
bashing him
I don't
and putting him down.
that I don't agree with nothing you just said, but that's okay. And that's okay with
Hmm.
me. It's okay that I don't agree with what you just said. So it's
Yeah.
obvious y'all are great communicators, but y'all some piss poor listeners. I said it from the beginning when Mistaken said, I said I'm gonna investigate, I'm gonna research. Even if she presents something to me, I said I'm going to research. So I talked about it from the front. We would have never talked about this losing 250,000. Where the hell did that amount come from? Y'all just pull some shit up out your goddamn ass with that
Lapeef
assumption.
did
But
that.
that's cool.
Lapeef brought that
So
up.
let's, I got you. Let's go from here. As a man, y'all are again, y'all are willing to take the y'all are willing to accept the good, but y'all don't want to accept the bad. So now you want to separate yourself just because I made a mistake, or whatever my idea, my investment didn't fail. Now you want to separate yourself. No, there's no separation. I'm all about one pot. So if we're gonna lose together. We're gonna win together. There's no backlash. Now, if me as a man, if I know my woman is like a die, Lord help me. But if she is, I'm gonna dumb it down, I'm gonna water it down, and I'm gonna explain to her as simple as possible on what's going on. And like I said earlier, we don't need you to come with this nagging shit. You're not going to make us feel no worse than we already are. You don't have to share your emotions, your feelings on what happened. I know I let you down. I know you're going to be upset. I know you're feeling this way or that way. I understand all of that. I know that before I make this investment, because the type of woman you are, I'm already going to know you like that. So that's why I'm going to tell you, if it doesn't work, please don't get out of your skin. Please don't go having a fit and nagging me and giving me hell about it. I understand. But if it works, we're going to eat differently. We're going to have a different area code. Our zip code going to change. Our lifestyle going to change. And our kids going to go different type schools than they was before. Why? Because of the investment it hit for us. Ladies, please.
So you
If a
telling
man
me
doesn't...
I have to take a hit on money, house,
Wait.
living situations, but you can't take a hit on my emotions for a little bit? Like,
What?
who am I supposed to go to? My therapist?
Wait a minute. I just want to
I'm
say this.
confused.
Die.
Like,
Die. Let me just say this. Just like you can get in your feelings about your husband taking the L on a business deal or whatever, if you were the one that made that decision, how would you feel if he got emotional about it?
I will understand.
But
Like, any human should understand that if you're a leader and you're leading all these people and you fail them in that sense. I'm not talking about no regular business decision. I'm talking about the example that Lapeef gave specifically.
well, any type
That
of
type of
decision where you're taking the L, any type of decision.
But a $250,000 to the point you cleared out our bank account, that's different. I'm talking about reacting to that. Now, if y'all talking about regular business decisions, of course, let
No,
them handle it. We got money to fix it. I'm not talking about that. I'm
a
talking about
large
specifically the
business
situation
decision,
Lapeef brought up.
a large business decision, a small business decision, any type of decision that's going to affect the family. If he put that on you to make the decision and the decision that you made didn't work, How would you feel if he came to you all emotional, telling you, I told you this before we made this decision. I told you to do this and you did that. Like,
I
wouldn't
would
you?
listen. This is the thing. People always get upset about people emotions that comes with the delivery. But as long as you're not cursing at me, calling me out my name, diverting from the topic, I'm going to accept whatever emotion I've caused. That's part of the consequences.
That's
Period.
fine,
So if
but
he decides to say, you made me feel like this and this is what you could have done better, I'm going to listen. And even if I don't know what he could have done better, if I feel some way emotionally, my husband is supposed to be that safe space for me. And anybody losing their house and everything in their bank account is going to be emotional. That's
so
anybody.
expressing your feelings, there's nothing wrong with that. But then
Yes.
what do? Then what do you
Then we
do?
come find a solution. Like I said, what do you need me to do? How do we fix this? I didn't agree that the man should do that by himself. I made that very clear. I said, I feel like I would, whatever you want to do after that, however I can help, I'm going to help. But I'm still going to come to you and let you know how I feel because you're my husband and I'm a woman and I'm emotional.
But what do you think? Which one do you think will make the bigger impact?
They
Coming,
both would make a good impact. I will be more, he don't have to worry about me nagging for the rest of the month because I didn't got it off my chest.
I don't know
He
if
didn't
that's true.
address. I know how I am as a woman and I know how I've dealt with my
Nah,
previous relationship, and all the men can
that
back
one
me up on this. Anybody, I'm gonna
that
tag
one
my
sit
some of my
down
exes.
can last for a whole month. If you nag me that one time, that can last me for the rest of the year. Cause I'm gonna keep on hearing
And so
your
is
shit
your
in my head.
$250,000 loss with us having to fix this and me having to help you. So
Well,
you
here's
can
Man,
take a couple of minutes or a
where did
couple
this
whatever,
250
however long I need to
where
vent
did this
for that
See,
day.
the
You
two
can
hundred.
take that
$250,000 loss
day,
come from?
but you're expecting me
See,
to
the
help
two
you
Why
make
you
a
hundred and
can't
fifty
decision that's going
came
to take
from
months.
Jr. Jr. had played something, and it had said, if they took all of the money, $250,000, would the woman still be submissive? So it was something that he played that said that. So that's where the 250
so
is coming from.
if
And
I
Hold
I
on.
got
said
two
I
well.
would
Let
hundred
me
still
say
be
this.
submissive.
Okay,
I'm not
Hank,
going to
Let me.
if
hold on.
bash
I have
him.
two
Let me just finish. I was gonna finish and say something that you said. For most women, you had said a question about if we win, you're gonna take the win, or if we I didn't listen to you and we missed out on a $2 million opportunity, then what? I'm gonna tell you, most women would be more comfortable losing out on the $2 million at opportunity and still have their same lifestyle versus you taking the risk with the 250 and we lose everything and on the street.
I was
Most
just
women are
saying
going to
And
you
go
that's
for the.
what.
so
And that's what I was
I
just.
was
with
That's the
every
listening to
point I
tell
was
me for a
just
extension,
about to
woman to
make.
be emotional.
that's
Hold on,
why
one mic, yeah,
most
one
women
mic, one mic.
Like, what he
that's why
saying?
most women are not good business minded people. That's why they'll
Okay,
they'll, they'll take a risk on a trash ass dude, but they won't take a risk. That makes no goddamn sense.
okay, hey, Dad.
That makes no sense to me. You
Um,
let a
Can I just
pookie,
say something real quick?
you
Can I
take
just
a,
say something
you
real
roll a
quick?
dice on a pookie and hope you can build a bear, but you'll say, no, I don't want to invest on my own. Man, that makes no sense to me. But go ahead.
I just want to say something real quick because it kind of bounces off of what Miss Taken was saying also. But I think we're talking about a certain type of woman here also in that situation because, like Miss Taken said, like if I was in that situation, there's a difference from a woman that comes from an independent background, self-sufficient, and a woman that not only is and submissive, but then you got a submissive woman who completely depends on that man. I'm not that woman. So 9 times out of 10, if my husband made a decision that put a lot of money in it and he came back and said, baby, lost it, 9 times out of 10, I'm that woman gonna be like, all right, I'm about to go in the 401k and get about 50,000 out. Let me know what you're gonna do. Like I'm automatically about to go into survival mode and fix what it can, automatically. I'm suggesting I'm about to go get the 401k. I'm gonna probably take out a loan because we ain't got no money now. Like that's what I'm gonna do. But there's some women who is completely dependent on that man. They're gonna freak out. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna feed the kids? How this and that? I already know how I'm gonna feed my kid. I'm about to go get my 401k. I got reserves somewhere. So there's different type of women when it comes to situations like that too.
That's true.
okay. Hey, Dad, I want to ask you something because if I'm not mistaken, you're a Christian, right?
I was raised under Christianity.
Okay, well,
Mhm.
you have a relationship with God.
Yes.
Um, do you question God when things happen?
I say, God, can you please explain to me why this happened? I don't understand it. Please give it to me for dummies. I need clarity on this. Yes.
Okay, but then where's the trust and the faith at?
You can still ask for clarity. I'm going to trust that it's going to work out, but I still need some type of clarity so I can know how to proceed.
And does it communicate back with you and give
hmm
you clarity?
Like, yeah, I've had situations like that. Like, I didn't understand. It's just a lot of situations. I had situations and I've gained clarity. Yes.
Okay.
And what, but I want to ask a
No, no,
question.
I wasn't quite
Oh, I'm
finished.
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think you have to do like a deep dive as far as how to understand communication because it goes both ways as far as being a listener and being a talker. Because sometimes we can communicate in a way where we are not factoring in that other element, and it can lead to a big blow up. It can lead to a big blow up. Criticizing or rubbing and a failure can lead to resentment, breaking down the trust and mutual respect that's essential in a healthy relationship. Acting out of emotion can escalate tension and lead to unnecessary arguments, making it harder to resolve the real issue at hand. Emotions can cloud judgment, and focusing on blame instead of finding solutions stops productive discussions, leaving problems unresolved. So I think you have to factor in because a lot of times when we communicate, we think we're doing a fantastic job. But if you do the research, you need to understand how you're communicating and how it makes that person feel, particularly your husband, because everybody is different. You know, there may be somebody that may like that rah rah, and you put them in a place because they may not know no better. You know, that's why when you look at um, men and
Can I
women,
talk to you like that?
huh? Oh,
Sorry.
you know, that's why when you look at men and women, you can kind of get an idea of what the type of person that they need. If you have somebody that's loud and combative and uh, they want to run the show, they're going to need a weaker man. They're going to need a man that they can talk down to and that's going to put up with that BS. And then vice versa. You know, if a man is controlling, he wants to dominate, he's going to have to find someone that's willing to put up with his authority. You know, there are some people that have understanding and they know how to turn it on and off, but some people don't have on and off switches. I mean, some people only have on and off switches versus being able to navigate through the moment and knowing when to turn up, turn down, when to balance it out, when to listen a little bit more, when to talk a little bit more. Some people just up or down, left or right, on off. And those people are typically difficult and they can only just be with certain people. You might be that person where you can only be with a certain type of person. Now, can you grow into being more like being able to handle like a heavier capacity? It may be. So you can't be with a man that's dominating. And it doesn't have to be looked at as him being dominant. It could just be him just being a great leader. And he's been in that position for a minute and he knows how to make good decisions. Now, leaders do make bad decisions, but the one thing about a good leader is that they see a truth that you may not see and they stand on it. And if they fail, they have no problem circling back around to correct it because they understand the bigger picture of it. Most of the time, a good leader is going to make a calculated decision, even though it's a fail, it still had a lot of thought into it where it didn't totally fail, where $250,000 is gone. I think that might just be somebody who might be bad with finances if they're making those decisions. And those are things, that's why I say those are things that you could probably see, but you have to learn how to communicate with your partner where it's effective. And that's why some of the people were saying, are you even looking for solutions? What's the point of bringing it up when it's not going to do anything? You don't know what it's doing to that particular person. But a weaker person, you gonna bet it. I mean, you can say whatever it is you want to say to them because they just gonna say okay. But you still don't know what it's doing for them in a relationship. Like I don't even know how you expected him to lead after you gonna just put him in his place and try to talk down on him.
Um, I feel like I understand what you all are saying, but it seems like when I explained to Hank the very first time how I would confront it and how I would address it, Hank was low-key not, because I wasn't coming off disrespectful. I'm telling you how I feel. And I feel like when I say that, y'all like you're nagging. Telling you how I feel is not nagging. Explaining to you how this is mentally and emotionally affecting me, because I'm an emotional being and I got to make sure I keep this house under control while you gone. I got to make sure let them, I have to, while you out working that overtime to make up that $250,000, I have to make sure that everything here is copacetic. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say I'm going to help. I do agree. I feel like letting him just fix it on his own and he's asking me to help, or I know I can help, it's just going to make it worse on our family. It's going to make it worse on the kids, all that. I said that. I just said that, just realistically speaking, because it seems like whenever I had to go back and explain why I was thinking the way I was thinking, people would switch the scenario to fit what they had to say and to fit what they thought. I'm sticking to the specific scenario. So I'm assuming, especially since we've been together for so many years, whoever, that he knows how to deal with me. He knows how to deal with my emotions. We know how to communicate. So yes, I'm going to tell you I'm hurt. I'm going to tell you that I'm hurt that I brought this to you and you completely disregarded me. I'm hurt that we don't know how we're going to pay rent next month. But I know we got this. I know as long as we pray and we do what we got to do, we got this. But I'm emotional and I'm going to be realistic about my emotions. And I expect for my man to know how to deal with that. I'm not going to nag him about it. Waking up the next day, can't eat, can't pay rent next month. No, I didn't say that. I said I'm going to come to him as a woman, not as soon as it happened. He's like, oh, we lost it. This ain't the right time. I'm gonna just be quiet probably for the next week, 2 weeks, whatever, until my man is
Okay.
calm and ready to receive me, until I'm calm and ready to say it in a manner that he can receive what I'm saying.
JR,
But
can I
then,
ask you
but
a
but
question
but
after she
but I
finishes?
think it's unrealistic for just everybody to be like, "Oh, you shouldn't say anything." Like, no, we're a safe space for each other. I should be able to share how I feel, and as a woman, any woman would feel anything. But like I said, I didn't say I was gonna snap on him right there. I'm gonna give it time. I'm
Yeah,
gonna do it in a respectful manner.
I think that
JR,
the
can I let me just ask JR this question? I promise, Viz, I'm done. So JR, you had mentioned something. You said what Di said. You said, how can you expect a man to continue to lead if you were going to go at him right after? So on the flip side of that, using the scenario that we were talking about, I guess the other question on the opposite end would be, how can you expect the woman to continue to trust your leadership when you aren't including her in the decision making and putting the family at risk from making unilateral decisions?
so when I make that statement, it wasn't to pin anybody against each other. It's just nearly to highlight the point of effective communicating. Um, on the listening side as well as the speaking side. Like there's a healthy way that you can communicate with one another to make sure that both of y'all thrive. And I think that if y'all factor that in, like even when her talking, she like, well, he knows I'm emotional, so he knows that I'm going to come with him with emotions. Who's to say that that's even? Have you even asked them how do you feel when I come to you emotional all the time?
Mm-hmm.
No, he may say, I don't like it. And then if he says he doesn't like it, then what? Are you
Mm-hmm.
going to say, well, we're not compatible because you have to accept that I'm an emotional person? Just because you're emotional doesn't mean that it's healthy. Like it doesn't mean that it's warranted. So that's why you have to, he should be expressing himself to say, hey, I understand that you're emotional. Like I can only deal with so many if somebody's coming and they're just dumping every single time, it can be draining. But you have to understand, you have to come outside of your body and factor in that this may not be what he wants all the time. Because even when I hear you talk, it's like he needs to understand he has to value me. He has to do this. He has to do that. I'm just wondering if he's walking around saying the same thing. She has to do this. She has to do that. Because I would tell him the same thing. Like you got to be more realistic as far as what a relationship really entails. But okay.
And also, especially in a marriage,
I
in a
had to slide
relationship,
the
like
crib.
you
Wait,
gotta
hold
choose
on.
your battles. You have to
And
choose your
fly, Viz.
battles. Everything is not an argument every time. You got to see what's worth it. If that $250,000 is worth arguing with your husband afterwards, it's not worth it because y'all still in the same boat and y'all still got to move forward. So you just got to choose your battles also, Die, because everything doesn't have to be an emotional conversation and it have to be addressed. Because
And
it's not worth it. When you living with somebody for the rest of your life, you cannot wake up every day on mad day to address everything that it is, you know? You just got to choose your battles. I'll leave it at that.
To keep saying that I'm an emotional being. Women are emotional beings. That's essentially you justifying you being able to say whatever the fuck it is that you feel in that moment. So it's one of those deals of where once you say something, you can't unsay it. It can't be unheard. So when you're in this emotional state, you're upset or whatever, and you just rambling, you're nagging, then that's going to have some type of effect on that man. So just like Hink said, because I was tuning in earlier, just how he said, if the shit goes wrong, then it goes wrong. If it goes right, it goes right. You know what I'm saying? Whose side are you on? Either you're with me or you're against me. You know what I'm saying? Either we're in this together or we're not. But to use me being emotional, I'm emotional and I should be able to say whatever I feel in that moment. Like that's, in my opinion, that's sabotaging the relationship, because no man, even if that is something that man is into, no man over time especially is going to be comfortable or okay with receiving that from the woman that he's supposed to be able to trust and confide in and spend the rest of his days with. Because at some point you're going to keep stretching and keep pushing the boundaries of those emotions, because you've made it clear that this is something that you do.
It's a difference from communicating emotionally and communicating emotions, right? So, for instance, I can come to you, babe, this really hurt us. I promise you, like, how could you do this? I told you to do this. I told you to put this, and this. Da 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 da. Babe, this really kind of hurting us. I'm dealing with an extra load right now. It's the kids. They doing this. They doing this. This decision kind of affected us, and I low key laid it out. But and he could tell me, like y'all said, that makes me feel some type of way. I'm sorry. Let me just focus like on the reason why I came here. I'm just emotionally overwhelmed right now. Maybe I need a hug. Maybe I need a little bit of reassurance, because losing 250,000, and like y'all said, you don't want to communicate emotionally about every little thing. I didn't say every little thing. I was talking about specifically this situation, and like I just stated when I first said it, if it takes me 2 weeks, I'm very observative. So if I can notice if you're still feeling some type of way. I can notice if you're ready to receive me. I spoke about this earlier in the show, effective communication. I'm not communicating just to be emotional, but I want to be effective. I want you to understand my worries, because like she said, it's going to build some trust issues. I want you to understand how I feel, and I might need a little reassurance. That's probably what I need in that moment. If I was in that moment, I'm guessing if I'm emotional, I know, because I'm just trying to be realistic. I'm knowing if I'm going to him, it's 9 times out of 10 for reassurance.
Well, let me just say this.
I think go ahead, Kelly.
I was just going to say, everybody on this panel, we all have emotions. We're all human, right? But you have to know, just like we've said on here before, you have to know what to say, when to say it. Same thing with your emotions. You have to know when to take your emotions out of it and get to the bottom line. That's it.
Yeah.
And it, like I told you, it's okay to express your feelings, communicate. But you got to know when to pull back on some of those things when it comes to your emotions. That's it. Just, cut the fat a little bit. That's all.
And I
hold
agree.
on.
That's why I gave examples of the toxicity on how you can communicate
Well, we
those
got
emotions and those lack of trust issues.
Yeah. So like, good acting right there. I like how you just show both sides of it, but the tone doesn't change the message. So even though you changing the tone, he might not be focused on your tone. He may just hear that message. And I think you have to factor that in. And that message is that you want him to know that he effed up and what's the issue? And just like Kelly said, man, I'd be the right time to have that. Like nobody, I don't know too many people that want to hear that at that time. Now, if he doesn't bring it up like 2 days and 3 days, then maybe come back and have that conversation. But in that moment, it's not that time. It's really not that time.
I said 2 weeks. You said 2 days. I said 2 weeks.
Okay.
I was giving them more time.
And $250,000 is not nothing that happens often. But I get the feeling that you coming for his neck with things smaller than that.
But why do y'all consider it that?
I mean,
Just a woman expressing to you, because he said he got to deal with the consequences.
it's,
Hank say it all the
you
time.
keep saying that you're emotional. You keep bringing up emotion.
The way you act, that first performance you put on, I think it's the way you are on every conversation with that man. Every time. That second one, I don't know what that second person is. That was some bullshit. That first person, that's really you. So even you said I will come 2 weeks later. Ma'am, let me say it for a fifth time. It's nothing you can say that will make that man feel bad. If I lose $25, I will forever remember the time I lost the $25. I can't never make that shit up. I'm always going to think about, God damn it, I missed out on. I could have been $25 more richer, but I missed out on the opportunity. So especially $250,000. Now, if I got $250,000 to invest in, I got a lot more money in accounts or in property or whatever the case may be. If I got $250 to invest on something, I have it. I'm not going to sit there and do it. Like I said before, I'm going to do the research. I'm not just going to go in there blind and not do no research. As a leader, I'm going to do research, make sure I look up, make sure I study, pay attention, get advice from elders who already know everything they need to know about certain investment or certain stock that I'm going to invest in. I'm going to look into all of that. I'm going to present it to you and let you know what it is. And I'm going to present the scenario. If it doesn't work out the way I think it's going to work out, how would you feel about that?
And the truth of the matter, I was just going to say that. The truth of the matter is that is what the conversation is going to be about too when you're having the conversation. Is it just to get your feelings off because you're mad, or is it really about the deeper issue? And for me, over the years, what I've learned, because I'm not going to front, I was like die in the sense of you just got to heal. I got to get this off my chest, type of thing. And what I was getting off my chest was actually the result, but not necessarily the cause. Now that I have matured in age, matured in marriage, and we've grown, now the conversation is different, even if it was a mess up, because the issue really wasn't about the $250,000 that you lost. That's the consequence. The real issue, the underlying issue, is that I felt like you didn't include me in the conversation, and you made a decision, and we're supposed to be a team. You made a decision by yourself that impacted everybody. So that's really where the conversation needs to be, and not necessarily about losing the money. That's the consequence of saying, because you didn't include me in this decision, that's where I felt, disrespected, or just not a team player, or whatever language you're going to use, and as a result of you not including me in that, the loss of the $250,000 have put all of us at risk, and I didn't even have anything to do with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's more along the lines of where the conversation should be, because our emotion and reaction is to the superficial part, like when they say the iceberg. So that's the part that you can see. So your emotion is reaction to that part you can see. But when you really take the time to process and think about it, is always a deeper underlying issue. And the underlying issue is you didn't feel valued enough for him to come and speak to you about what was going on and let y'all come to some kind of decision. It was more so you made that decision on your own without considering how that would impact me. So
I got you. Hold on. We got to move on, y'all. because we got to get up out of here in a second. Let me get to this main topic, but super chats first. Harrison Davis 499 says, salute. Appreciate you, sir. Do business $10. If I had the chance to marry Coco, I would deposit $10,000 in her account. Not because I'm attracted to her, but to make sure she doesn't stress about money if she was my wife. Big Guy 11 says, every man is not a leader and every woman is not a wife. Why do you always seem to leave off the second part of the quote? Advanced perception. There's a big difference between offering counsel and grabbing the wheel. Sometimes your idea won't get picked, but what you did do help it succeed. Harrison Davis says, everyone always has a bad idea when they aren't responsible. And lastly, Advanced Perception said, it sounds like Di just wants to vent her frustration. If your man is a good leader, he already knows he effed up. Badgering him won't find a solution. I think everybody has contributed to the platform thus far. Do me a favor, family, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to pull up this audio. I don't believe I can play the video. Copyright reasons. But this is from Love is Blind Season 7. It's a viral clip that's going around. You watch Love is Blind, Viv? No? Okay. Just want to make sure. I'm going to play this clip and then we'll react to it. It's a little lengthy, so I just probably may stop it and then play a little bit. So just keep that in mind that I may cut in just so I can just play so we can get through it. Y'all ready?
What's up?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Let me know when you're ready to talk.
Because I haven't eaten all day.
Do you want to talk now, or?
You want me to sit over there?
I mean, I would rather talk to you intently. Yes.
Okay.
I have a lot to say.
Okay.
Some things happen in regards to my parents that I didn't really appreciate.
Like?
What would you like me to tell you?
Yeah, for sure.
I understood you were sleepy, but my parents drove up here 10 hours to meet you. And as soon as the cameras cut, you decided to go to sleep at the first opportunity. These are the most important people in my life. And all I have left in this world. And the choice you made in that moment was to go to sleep.
Okay.
And to me, it is telling. Okay. Because that's just not a choice that I would ever make.
Okay.
I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, but for me, that was not okay.
I was exhausted. I like to take my naps. We talked for hours about you, about what I would be to them as a vessel, as someone to lean on. If it really meant that to you, I would have stayed up.
I had been trying to communicate with you all day during the day.
Can I just stop you right there?
Sure.
You're saying you were trying to contact me all day. I talked to you 3 times yesterday. And then at 5 o'clock, you
yes,
texted
but you
me.
were asleep for most of the day.
I was
which
asleep
is
for
fine.
an hour.
Whatever it
From
was,
5
you
to
did not
6.
text much yesterday. You
I
weren't
talked
very responsive.
No. Hold on, because I don't appreciate that.
Would you like me to tell my side of the story?
But I don't appreciate that. That's not true.
Well, can I tell my truth
Go ahead.
and you speak yours?
Go ahead.
Is that a possibility?
Absolutely.
All right. So I felt like I was not getting responsiveness out of you yesterday. The only other conversation we had was when we were going to get to the house and what was up with your car. Yeah, I just said, congratulations, you got your car back. Keep an eye out for it.
Right.
I felt like even the response to that was kind of, I
When
was
I
just
said
letting
it's
you know
fine?
that I was just saying, hey, keep an eye out for your tires on your car. That's all I said.
Yeah, and I didn't
So,
respond to that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. But the point is, that's the only conversation we had that day.
Okay.
At that point,
Because
I
you're
decided,
working.
do you want me to finish?
I'm so confused.
Well,
Like,
I'm
what's
trying to
wrong with
explain.
that?
I'm trying to explain. Would you rather explain?
Go for it.
All right. By the time you called me, you were ready to talk to me on your time. And at that point, I feel like if I haven't been talking to you all day, and now I don't feel like talking, you don't get to dictate that now we get to talk on the phone.
Okay. When I went to work yesterday, it's a long day. I'm interacting with people all day. I called you and I let you know what was going on in the middle of the day. And then I even texted you when my car was back. And you're like, make sure your car's okay. I said, it's fine. And you're like, yeah, we'll just make sure your tires are good. I didn't respond. Okay, I see. I read it and I received it. If you don't communicate that, hey, this really bothers me that you didn't respond, how am I supposed to know? Then when you called me, I was asleep because I had been running around all day. So I took a nap. And then that's when I called you immediately. You said, I don't want to talk on the phone. Okay, well, maybe if I express to him that I do like talking on the phone, maybe it will change. No, it didn't. And it wasn't me trying to dictate. I was just trying to explain to you, hey, this is what I like. Just like you could have explained, hey, I didn't like that you fell asleep while my parents were there. I get tired really easily. I don't know what it is. I'm not trying to make an excuse with your parents. I just talked to them for 4 hours. I didn't think it was that big of a deal to go to sleep for an hour. I really didn't. But if it meant something, you have to just say that. You never said anything. I cannot read your mind. You want me to be this person that is your wife that does everything by the book on your book, but I can't be doing everything by the book unless you tell me. You have to communicate that. I am ready to listen. I'm trying to understand you. Just like yesterday when we were on the phone and I called you again and you were like, I don't want to talk to you because you don't listen. I felt very dismissed. I felt very closed off from you. I was hurt. I started crying because I don't understand what it is. You have to admit it is not the same from when we were in the pods. And I'm not saying it's all on you and I'm not saying it's all on me. It's both of us. These are such little things. I'm trying my hardest.
After reflecting on what I really want out of life and a wife, I have to be honest with myself that the answer between you and I, for me, is no.
Okay. All right. I mean, if your mind is made up, I have many words to say on what you're saying.
I'm here to listen. I'm here to listen if you would like to. But
are you listening just to hear, or are you listening as an open mind to move forward?
Because you just said to understand. I'm always listening to understand.
I mean, is your mind made up?
That is what I said. Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. I told you I was going to take this experiment to the very end, and I did not take you meeting my father and getting him that emotional so lightly. How dare you do that and then just throw it away after 2 days? It's literally been 2 days since you did that. And now you're ready to just throw it away because I fell asleep and because I didn't text you?
Honestly, yes, I took that for your father very seriously.
Nothing has happened to actually do the work to give it a shot.
I feel like you don't even see the things
but
that
have
I'm
you
trying
tried?
to do. Absolutely.
With what?
Would you like me to answer?
Yeah, for sure.
Am I going to get to speak?
Absolutely.
All right. So you want me to cuddle with you more. I intentionally rolled over and tried to hold you in that tiny ass bed. And upon asking you, you didn't even notice.
Because I was asleep.
What do you want from me? I don't think you realize how much work I put in to do that. For when for your family. I woke up at 8 a.m. and went to the grocery store and had to hunt down a bunch of stuff, season meat, figure out the grill, do all that was work. And after that, I came back and did the dishes. If you sat here and grilled a whole meal for my whole family and I come back to dishes in the sink, I'm not gonna ask you to do the dishes. I'm probably just gonna do them. Maybe I didn't communicate that, sure. However, if I have to communicate that, I am not the one for you.
Do not try to make it seem like I'm not here doing my part at all. We're not going to spin it like that.
Nobody's spinning like anything.
I've been given such a negative response, a temper tantrum sometimes, like an attitude. I just don't understand it. If it's about the dishes, if it's about me going to sleep, if it's about a text, all of that, it's the slap in the face.
Great. I'm glad you feel that way. There's a lot I could respond to, but there is no scenario that I see myself standing there and saying yes to making you my wife forever. And with that in mind, I'm glad we can at least agree that I don't ever want to see you again. This was nice. I wish you the best of luck.
Oh yeah, you live.
Why do so many feel unappreciated in relationships? Why you say, Kelly?
Because he was a butthole. Flat out.
Why was he a butthole?
Because it sounds to me like he wants her to be a certain way without communicating his likes and dislikes. I mean, they are on a reality show, so it's not like this is a real life relationship. This is a TV relationship. It's a production. So everything happened pretty fast. And they don't know each other that well. So it seems like the communication is bad between the two of them. And it seems like he has expectations that he hasn't stated. And I mean, a lot of stuff that he said was just kind of rude. It wasn't nice. That's why I said he's a butthole.
Believe it or
But
not,
the women go,
I actually agreed with him.
me too.
Yeah, I agree with
I
him.
did too.
Like she had too many excuses.
y'all
I'm like,
gotta
girl,
I
bye.
agree with him.
Now that mistaken agreed with, but
Communicating emotionally and communicating emotions.
agreed with him
Go ahead.
in the fact that you know, I actually think that he was on point about, it's just certain, not to say that she would know, because everybody have their own upbringing,
Realize
their
how
own.
much work I put in to do that
So
for what?
you really don't know, what a person know or don't know. But since they are not already in a relationship, I think he made the right decision by not pursuing a relationship any further, because he knew how much work he wanted to put in regards to things that he expected her to already know, that he shouldn't have to teach some of the foundational basics, right? So I agree with him with the fact that he shouldn't have had to communicate that you need to stay up when you got company,
Well,
or that the dishes.
I think she said she stayed up and talked to his parents for 4 hours.
Yeah, but if no, so I think that was for the show taping. According to what it looked like, she stayed up long enough for the show to be taped, and as soon as the lights camera was off, she, went to sleep or whatever. And then like what he was saying too, the fact that he grilled all day cooking for, I think it was her family. I don't know if it was her family. I think it was her family. And then he said that that was a lot of work, and he came home and the kitchen wasn't clean, the sink, like it was like, I'm doing this as an act for your family. The least you could do is at least clean the kitchen. I come home and the dishes in the sink and you're sleeping. So I do agree with that. These are things that you look at early on in the relationship, and vice versa.
Well, that's a common sense thing to wash the dishes. Like,
Right, but
help
common
me
sense
out.
ain't common, right? Because he was like, that was an expectation that I had, that I didn't know I even needed to communicate that to you. So the
Yeah.
fact that I had to communicate that to you means that you may not have some of the basic foundational skills that I'm looking for in a wife. I remember one time, even and this stuck with me, and I don't know why, because I naturally did this just because of the way that I was raised. But I remember before my husband and I got married, he was talking about his ex and how they went on a trip with friends, and all of the women were in the kitchen cooking and cleaning, whatever. All of the women were in the kitchen, and she sat on the side with the guys, just like chilling and reading a book or whatever. She wasn't involved with helping the women. And he said he was so embarrassed and like pissed off about that. And I don't know why that stuck with me, but now I just realized that I am very intentional, that when we are visiting like his people out, that I am up helping, and do not that he needed to tell me that, but because I know it bothered him that much, I think sometimes I do extra, just because I want him to never be embarrassed of his wife. You know what I'm saying? And so I think in that regard, he was absolutely right, because I think he saw enough to know, is this something that I can deal with for the rest of my life?
Mm-hmm.
She's not coming with basic foundational skills that I think she should have. And then even on top of the communication part, you could tell she really wasn't listening, because she was like, okay, uh-huh. And I know when we do that, we really ain't listening. We're trying to act like we're acknowledging what you're saying,
She didn't
but
like.
we're really just like, okay, and we're waiting to respond. So it's like, yeah, okay, okay. And I don't think she was coming from a place of really listening to what he was saying, taking that in, apologizing and saying, I'm sorry, I'm willing to work on that. I didn't know. I was, like she said, I was just really tired, but I apologize. And even for me, even going farther than that, I would have liked to apologize to the parents, because I wouldn't know if they felt some kind of way. Like, was I being rude? You know what I'm saying? Taking it the wrong way and like, oh, what's wrong? I would have probably took it a step further and just be like, and I'll contact your parents and apologize, because I wasn't trying to be rude. I just think is those things that he already saw, that wasn't necessarily something that he knew he wanted to deal with as a wife. I shouldn't have to teach you certain things that I feel that you should come with. So I actually kind of agree with him.
Hold on real quick. Hold on. There was a comment that I seen that said that our house was filthy. So
I saw that.
yeah, but here's a couple comments. He been fed up. That was just the last straw. He stood on business. I can guarantee you this is not about dinner or dishes. She wasn't listening to him and started in that defense mode and playing victim card. Her house is filthy. Enough said. She was not listening to him. Instead of being accountable and apologizing, she went into defense mode and then calling him a baby, downplaying his emotions as a temper tantrum. This is why men don't talk to their spouse or girlfriend. They talk to their boys or other women that listen. Sound familiar there? A little bit.
No, I don't have that issue, but
I mean,
I
well,
don't. I feel like
not necessarily that, but
yeah.
coming down on him, downplaying his efforts and things. He just may kind of shut down and just. Yeah.
But
I
I
just
don't
wanted to
agree
add that
with the
context to it.
I don't agree with the clip. That I don't agree that I don't feel like she was right at all. I feel like it was a lot of red flags there. I feel like him as a man, what I got from the conversation, he was throwing small things out there just to see how receptive she was. You know what I'm saying? He probably feel bigger issues than that. She couldn't even receive the small issues well. Another red flag about it that made me feel like she was the problem is when he said something, because he was like, okay, I'm finna let you know how I feel. As soon as she disagreed with one fact of the statement, not even a point of the conversation, not the whole point, but he might have got one fact wrong, like, oh, I called you. No, you didn't call me, I called you. Like, let him finish his statement. Let him say what he's doing. And every time he told her what was wrong, instead of saying, okay, I understand how you feel, so forth, so forth, she just stated what he did too. Like, okay, but you did this and I did it because of this. And I think he made a very good point. A lot of people like to use that quote, are you listening to hear me, or are you actually listening? And he's like, no, I'm listening to understand. If she was listening to understand, she wouldn't have taken it so personal. The things he were bringing up were very small, things that could have been fixed, things that could have been, like she said, fixed with an apology. Oh, okay, I didn't know you felt like that. And she was like, why you didn't tell me that? You should communicate. That was the whole point of the conversation. It had just happened the day before. You fell asleep. He didn't get a chance to communicate that with you. So now that he's doing it, you're like, why you not telling me? Well, now I see why he's not telling you. You're not being receptive. And the way you're coming off, I realized a long time ago in my early 20s that I had traits like my mom. My mom, she was raised with her dad in the household, but my mom was a very aggressive woman. She was a single mom, so she had a lot of masculine traits. So I had to notice I used to do that. I used to, if I get defensive, I'm just spewing out things. And it's like, no, let me take a step back. Let me calm down. I feel like if I'm too emotional, I'm just going to listen. And then once I calm down, I might not even have to come back to you and tell you how I feel, because now I can process what you said. You know what I mean? And then if I am emotional and I am I'm like, okay, well, I shouldn't be talking right now. I should just be quiet. And I felt like in that moment, she should have just been quiet. She should have just listened to him. And the way he was talking, she was cutting him off and she was saying, you did this and you did that. And he didn't say, well, I did it because you did this. He was like, okay. And the way he was talking, he was patient. He wasn't quick to talk. He was listening. So I just feel like it was a lot of red flags there, and it shows that he's been through that before. He just seemed drained. He seemed tired. He seemed over it. And he's like, I'm gonna try this one more time. I'm gonna try it with the small shit. If I can't get to you with the small shit, then fuck it. I don't want to. I mean, F it. I don't want to do this. I want a divorce, because after
A
all this time,
divorce?
I
They're
should be
not
able to.
married.
I mean, not divorce, but I don't want to do this with you anymore, because if I can't communicate about small things, then what can I communicate about?
Well, I think he had already made his decision. And I
Yeah.
do remember earlier in the episode, I don't know if it was the episode before or that episode, she did bring him to her house and it was a disaster. It's like, why would you invite somebody over and your house look like that? She had stuff on the bed, on the floor, all up and down the closet, everywhere. She said before she left to film the show, she was trying to pack. But still, it was beyond that to me. It was, she said she was somewhat of a hoarder, or something to that extent. So I can see how he probably felt like, I'm gonna find everything wrong because I don't want to move forward in a marriage with this woman. And I guess the things that she did during the time when she met his family, that just probably put the icing on the cake. However, I still think he was a little harsh in his delivery at the end when he walked out and he said he never wanted to see her another day in his life. Like, that was kind of mean. He didn't have to say that, but whatever.
Yeah.
No, I think he did. I think he had to say it because he had to mean business and know she's serious. And I think there's a cracked door so she could slither her way on in like the snake she is. Look, I said it earlier. I said, you ladies are great communicators, but you are bad listeners. That's what I said earlier. I mean that. I mean that because this lady did not give that man an opportunity to hardly say anything. Every time he was going to say something like Di said, she was ready to rebut. She was ready to chime in. Didn't give a man an opportunity to say nothing or anything. Another thing, man, why are you always sleeping all the goddamn time? Is your iron low? Do you have some type of iron deficiency? You need to go to see the goddamn doctor if you got to sleep all the goddamn time. What is wrong? Get you some fish oil. Do something. Change your diet. I don't know what it is. Talk about she's sleeping all the time. Why are you sleeping all the time? Ma'am, are you working 12 to 14 hours a day? I don't know what it is, but you shouldn't be sleeping all the time. I mean, and the only time you stayed up is long enough for them cameras, so you doing it all for the gram. You doing it all for the show. You doing it for the act. You're not really serious about the situation. She's not really serious about the relationship. I think it's just something fun for her to do. She wanted to go all the way through it because she wanted that bread. She seen that one guy go all the way through it and get to the altar, and then all of a sudden, I'm not gonna marry you. So he said, well, if he could do it, I could do it too. I think that's exactly what happened. I don't think she was really serious. I don't even think it really affected when he did say I'm married. She's not looking for no marriage because she will be changing some things. She'll be moving different. Like she said, she didn't even do the dishes. The man went to the store, got the ingredients he need, came home, cooked the dinner, and I sound like I don't know if he dropped the parents off or something, and then he came back, the dishes were still dirty. Why? Because she was sleeping.
Well, I think she said she was. I think she said she was busy working all day or running around or something like that. I don't know. I mean, we don't know. We just know what we see. But
Kelly, more than likely, her lazy ass got a dishwasher. She probably too lazy to load that something.
Now that is terrible. Like, I agree with you on that. The washing dishes. If somebody's cooking, that's the least you can do is wash the dishes. So I can agree on that. But the sleeping part, I don't know. She may have some sort of health condition.
I feel like she's real because just how y'all said her house was, it's like your house is a reflection, in my opinion, of your mental state. I used to help a lot of my friends come up out of depression, and when I would go to their house, it would be, and I'm like, cleanliness is next to godliness. You can't even think in this type of situation, and that's the reason why she left the dishes there. Like, as a man who's ready to lead, who's ready to be, you feel me? He like, I don't have time for this. Like, she was just too combative. And I feel like the way he delivered himself, I don't feel like she should have been offended. Like, he wasn't coming off angry, and you feel me? He was just expressing how he felt. He felt some type of way. He experienced some emotions, and he was like, this is how I feel. And she was just like, why you feel like that? I don't understand. You don't have a right to feel like that. And it's
he did not.
Like, basically, long story short, the way she was questioning him and stuff, it was like she wasn't really like trying to hear it. And it's like, what make me upset might not make you upset, and what make you upset might not make me upset. But you have to listen and communicate to understand. Okay, you don't like that. I feel like I can change that because you're worth being with. You're worth it. I can work on that. You know.
I mean, I don't know how long they filmed that show. Like, I think before they left to go back home, I feel like he propose? Did anybody else watch the show?
Well, so I think they propose before they leave the house, the big house or whatever.
The pods or whatever.
Right, the pods.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen this show. I don't know much about it. I don't think that him. I don't think him. I don't think her falling asleep or having whatever sleep issue was the main issue. I think that it has to be the communication, because he kept saying, "Are you gonna let me finish? Can I finish?" You know, and that men experience that a lot. And if that's something that's happening right off the bat, then it's like, okay, this shit is going to always happen. On top of going to your house and your house is filthy, on top of coming back to the house and there's dishes in the sink and you sleep. So now it's like, oh, you a lazy motherfucker that I have to go back and forth to get my point across and hope that you understand what it is that I'm saying. So I think that was the deciding factor as to where it was like, yeah, I'm not gonna deal with this shit. So kick rocks with no shoes on, you know what I'm saying, and come back type of deal.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, he said he had already made his decision. Even when she wanted to talk after the fact, like she said, "Well, did you make your decision?" He said, "Yeah," but he was still available to listen. But he was set on no.
I would even challenge and say if he would have, for him to say that he was still willing to listen to what it was that she had to say, I think that was still a little crack that he was giving her, you know, to potentially redeem herself essentially. You know, if she said the right thing and apologized and showed the effort to change, then I think that it may have been a possibility just off the strength of him saying that. Because if it wasn't, then no, it's if I'm done with you, then I'm getting up and leaving and walking away. You know what I'm saying? Especially if this is for TV.
Nah,
It's gonna look even better on TV if I just, nah, bitch, I don't want shit else to do with you, and I get up and walk away. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think he made his mind honestly, Vic. I don't think
He
at
did.
that point was anything that she could have said that would have changed his mind, because I think he was having the sole purpose of that conversation was to let her know that he was done. He already had his mind made up. But I think what he was trying to do is let her get it off. So he gave her the window of opportunity just to say, I'm willing to, understand, but I ain't changing my mind. I think that was really where he was at, because even if he was willing to listen and understand where she was coming from, that's cool. But at the end of the day, you ain't changing the fact that I already see the pattern. You got a dirty house, you're sleeping. I called you, you were sleeping. Like I think he already saw enough red flags for him to be like, this ain't gonna work for me. But he
Yeah.
was just trying to be nice and let her get it off. But he was done.
Yeah, that house was enough to be done.
I gotta see it now.
Yeah,
What
I
season?
gotta go back.
What season is this?
It's 7. I think it's episode 10.
Yeah,
It
It
was
was that
terrible.
bad.
yeah. A
It
woman with
wasn't
a
that
dirty
good.
house, man. That shit is that's the most unattractive thing
Nah.
ever. Like, you could be amazing at everything else, amazing in the bed, you know, low body count, beautiful, can't cook, but if your house filthy,
It's a wrap.
it's a wrap.
Some people are okay living like that. Some people are used to that growing up. Like I personally, I couldn't deal with it. I don't think I would have even sat down. I would have just been like, okay, well, we could just go somewhere and hang out. But
I
no,
don't even want to go nowhere with you if your house filthy like
that
that.
part too. But yeah,
Because
go back and watch.
now I gotta worry about how are you gonna conduct yourself when we go out in public. You know what I'm saying? If we go out to a nice restaurant, you gonna blow your nose in the napkin or whatever. Are you gonna you know, you gonna
You
drop a fork on the floor and try and pick it up and put it back on the table or something? Or, you know what I'm saying?
you'll be surprised how people present themselves outside that live like that. You really would.
No, that's fair. I've encountered some women like that. That they
I was
come
gonna
out.
say, and I think
They
mostly
come
women.
out.
Do that. I
Yeah, they
think
come out the house. They all dialed up. They got the makeup, the eyelashes, the nice outfit, and
Yep.
you walk in their crib, and it's like,
Disgusting.
shorty, what you got going on here, man? I gotta let my cat out.
Yeah, I think that was the turnoff right there. I really do.
what happened to the days of when if the house wasn't right, you didn't even have people come over because you knew your house wasn't right in that moment. Like, I'm not
Some
having
people,
company. No, you can't. I remember like my daughter or my son might say, "Can such and such? I want." Is the house clean? That's the first thing I'm asking. If the house ain't clean, don't even ask because you know nobody's coming over. That's just not gonna happen.
yeah,
So
but what's
I
right to
just
you, what's
mm,
right to you
mm-mm.
might be different for somebody else.
And
Yeah,
we live.
I remember back in the days, man, when on Saturdays my mom would play that Sade. I could stand Sade for the longest time, but I knew when that Sade was on, it's time. So we down there cleaning baseboards, ceiling fans, and I'm talking about that deep cleaning. I hated that shit, and it's I'm traumatized. And Sade's a beautiful singer, but I can't even listen without thinking about all the shit we had to clean and do on them Saturdays.
It's
You know, that's
therapeutic.
what that.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah,
That's
we
crazy.
live in a generation where we don't shame people anymore. I think if we went back to shaming motherfuckers, then hey, some people won't feel comfortable with having guests over while they got clothes all over the place, and you know,
I think
uh,
she knew that he was coming too. Ain't no way you didn't know they was coming to your house.
Yes.
So you just had to be like this in front of all these people.
did
Mm-mm.
did
I don't
she
care
did
how
she at
tired
least
that's it's getting clean. If I'm meeting
before?
your parents, that house is gonna be clean. I'm staying up all night. I don't care. That will not be your first impression. Period. It just
So
wouldn't be.
It's a thought process. You can't trust no chick like that that knows that her man's family about to come over and you don't make sure that, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the common sense right there. Even if you naturally not like that. You don't even have
wait,
the common
so
sense to make your men look good when his family comes. You can't
wait,
trust
so
chicks like that.
his family came to the house and it was like that,
I think no, I think she invited him over to her house, her apartment, condo, whatever.
right?
And he stayed, just to visit, hang out with her for a little while or whatever.
Did
The
did she
other
let him
visit,
know? Did she let
huh?
him know that the house was junky?
When he walked in,
So she didn't say beforehand.
I don't know. I have to go back, but that little
That's even worse. Like if you give
But
me the heads
still, he
up,
was talking about family being there when he was cooking, and she still didn't have the common sense to clean the dishes, do something.
at the
She just didn't have
yeah,
the common sense to even do that, to be a team player while he was
right,
doing all that he was doing. That's
right,
what I'm saying.
right.
Chicks like that, he made a good decision. Like that's an
common
early sign.
common sense ain't coming.
She can't even fake it. It's like, girl, you just should know that part at least. So I don't think she liked them because she
Well,
definitely wasn't trying to.
that is
She was like,
I
whatever.
say being the devil's advocate, but because I don't want to advocate for the devil. What I guess the other question on the flip side is, do you think it was a good idea for her to do what she did so he could see what he was getting into, and for her to be like, I don't want to put up a front and pretend that I am this chick when I know that I'm not, because that's what a lot of men say, that women, when they're dating or they meet them, they're doing all of these things that are not naturally who they are, what they do, and then after they get in a relationship, they flip the script.
She could tell him and not let him see it. He didn't have to walk into it. She
So
could, this is not my norm. My house is usually not clean like this. I did this for you. I'm not letting no man walk into my dirty house.
I wouldn't, but I'm saying in this regard, she showed him who she truly is. So if he chose to be with her, he knew exactly what he was getting. So in that
Well, he didn't
regard,
know exactly that. He kind of probably had an idea, but I don't think he knew he was gonna come back, and she was gonna be in the bed sleeping, didn't wash the dishes, because I think he thought if he had a good woman, that's what she gonna be doing anyway. So like, I don't think he knew that she was gonna be that way. Just to say, I'm good. He saw it and made a decision immediately.
Well, I think they both dodged bullets because he realized what didn't work for him, and he walked away from her, so now she can move on and find something that works
And
for
then
her.
a lot of times she kept saying, "Well, you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me that." Girl, bye. Yeah. If I got to tell you to do something like that, so she was already blaming him. Basically, if you want me to do that, you should have said something. Yeah, you a brick wall.
Well, sometimes some people need to be told.
and what's common, like what you were saying, common, because there are plenty of things, I'm gonna be honest, that I had to communicate to my husband about things that I needed or expected that I didn't know. I was moving a certain way, and I had no idea that like something might bother him. In a situation like that, he is gonna have to inform me because I wouldn't know, and vice versa. There were things that he was doing. I'm like, that bothers me, and he wouldn't know that unless I communicated that. But I do think there were just some basic foundational skills that both of us came with that we just knew better. So it wasn't, I'm trying to work with him from the ground up and he's trying to work with me. You know what I'm saying? It was just, I guess, basic skills that we were raised. Like when we met, I'm gonna be honest, he was much neater than I was. But then it kind of flip-flopped. The older he gets, never mind. The worse it's getting. But like when we first met, he would get up because I would go to work before he did, and he would always have the bed made, and he would pick up before he left to go to work. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do that. I'll wait till Saturday to get everything done and get the house clean. So I mean, we both cleaned. The house was neat, but for the most part, he was on top of it more so than I was. But it was still we both knew we ain't want to live in a nasty house, so we needed to be clean, but I think that's the thing. When you're looking at a situation, you're coming in, you're vetting, you're doing those things. Those are the things that you should be looking for. Just, are they able to meet just basic expectations that I think everybody should have, depending on who's doing the judging. If they don't, then I think that's the red flag right there. It don't have to be flaming, but it's enough to know, to ask yourself, they don't have these skills. Am I willing to deal with this for the rest of my life the way they are now if no changes are ever made? And I think a lot of times I think men and women both do this, that we think that we can influence the other person enough that we'll be okay with it later on. And so we stick or get into a relationship only to come back to square one 2 years later, like, damn, I should have never should have got with him or never should have got with her. But all of the signs was there from the very beginning, but we, was infatuated with the person, or, you know what I'm saying, just attracted, the physical attraction, or yeah, we vibe real good, but that basic foundation that's gonna make a relationship work just truly wasn't there. And you get tired of trying to teach somebody something.
But the thing about it, I mean, you would think if you're going to invite somebody over to your home, that you would at least straighten up. Yeah, at least. Nobody should have to tell somebody, because now you invite everybody. Now, and you knew his parents coming. Like he said, they've been driving for 8 hours. So you had over 8 hours to find a way to get that house clean. Whether you hire some cleaning service, the day before or something.
No, this was just her apartment. I don't think this was just her apartment that he came to visit, and the house was jacked up. I don't think it was his place that the parents came to. It was just when he went to visit. I mean, either way, the house.
Yeah, that's
either way,
how
it
she
doesn't matter.
lived. That's
Yeah.
how she
I mean,
lived. And that's how she gonna be.
you can't have somebody at your house and just be nasty like that. I mean, I don't know what type of first impression are you trying to make? Are you trying to scare the man away? Are you trying to scare the person away, whoever that is? Because that's what it sounds like. You trying to scare the individual away. You already let them know, hey, I ain't serious about the relationship because look at my dirty house. I didn't even clean it up just for you to come over and visit me. Yeah, that everything about what she was doing was, to me, in my opinion, was very disrespectful. Very disrespectful.
I feel like when you know better, you do better. I really don't think she knows any better. As far as that mess that she let him walk into.
She don't seem like the type to be receptive to the feedback that somebody give her. He would have probably told her, and what about your house? Well, I would have. See, can't even tell you. I can't. If I can't tell you about this small stuff, I know I can't tell you about your house. You really gonna take that personal. Like, it's like, how can I even help you with the house if you're not even receptive to feedback?
He even said something about, I tried to cuddle with you in that little bed. So he just didn't like that girl. That's what that was. Once he saw the real side.
Yeah, she gotta have like a twin size or something.
Twin size bed? What she got?
He seemed upset that he
Maybe
gave
a full size bed.
He seemed upset that he gave her a chance in the first place. Like, I should have never did this.
A full
He's
list
like
twin.
And then the room probably seemed even smaller because she had shoe boxes and things all over the place, clothes on the bed.
And she's a full figure woman too, so it ain't like she's a small woman. So
and she's a grown woman, not a little girl. So
yeah, that's two people laying on the twin size bed. That's a hard ask.
Yeah, he was just turned off. He was turned off, and he found every little reason to let it go.
Yeah, I was paying attention particularly to the dialogue of communication too. I was just noticing how it wasn't great communication. A lot of cutting off and not listening. And I think that's important if you're really trying to grasp an understanding of what that person may be feeling, especially when they're at that fed up moment. You know, sometimes we're listening to respond and we're getting defensive as far as trying to answer every single thing. Sometimes you got to take a moment to reflect before you even speak and even consider if some of those things are true or not. Either way, man, if you haven't checked it out, take a look at it. I know I'm gonna go back and review it and see what's going on with it. I want to thank the panel tonight. We go ahead and get up out of here.
Hey, before we head out, what was that couple name?
Tim and Alex.
Okay.
Yeah, but go ahead and watch the whole thing, man. I'll be trying to find little clips and stuff, man. You're trying to piece it together like a puzzle. Start from the beginning, man.
Hey, man, Keith ain't got Netflix. Give me your password, now. Give me your password. He ain't got Netflix.
Yeah, I don't have anybody else's password, man. So same boat, but they got the shh. Yeah, I'm talking to me. We still live. Yeah, I want to thank everybody that tuned in. Dale Matthew, Robert, Blackcon, Must See, Kilpie, Shannon, Elevated, Mind Healer. Just naming some people. Angela Swift, Shannon Duncan. Shout out to everybody, man. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Catch us next Wednesday. Tomorrow, we got the Thursday show, 8 p.m. Central Time. Y'all make sure y'all go ahead and tune in for that. And we out.
Peace.